Chapter 161. Had a big secret. Yunchujio was staring at the green stone slab in a daze. She said carelessly, "Didn't he already said it once? I'm just repeating it." Feng Ming was stunned at first, then he cried out in surprise, "What? What did you say?" Everyone's eyes were focused on Feng Ming. He instantly returned to his usual cold and aloof state, as if the scream just now was an illusion. At that time Yunchuzi and the others walked over and beckoned Yunchujio back to the kitchen. She finally shifted her gaze away from the green stone slab and said to Ho Tiong, "Manager Ho, please help me ask for half a day's leave from Elder Huang." Feng Ming also chimed in, "Yes, just say that I have a favor to ask of ninth junior sister." Ho Tian smiled and agreed, then left with Yunchuzi and the others. "Junior sister Jio, you can really remember everything you've heard? Also, what's so great about this broken green stone slab?" Feng Ming was extremely curious. Yunchujio waved her hand at him and ignored him. She continued to focus her attention on the green stone slab. Feng Ming rubbed his nose in boredom and also lowered his head to look at the green stone slab. However, other than a bunch of meaningless patterns, he really could not see anything else. Feng Ming looked at it for a while and felt dizzy. He shook his head and sat at the side to meditate. The onlookers could not help but discuss among themselves when they saw Yunchujio frowning and raising the corners of her mouth at times. Is Yunchujio crazy? What is she doing? I don't know. She has always looked abnormal. How can a girl's hair be that short? A good-for-nothing without spiritual power naturally thinks differently from us. Maybe she thinks those patterns are beautiful. Those questions just now. How did that good-for-nothing answer all of them correctly? Hey. What's so strange about that? Isn't senior brother Feng Ming sitting next to her? It must be senior brother Feng Ming who helped her. Ah, what you said makes sense. Feng Ming curled his lips. What the hell was he helping? Not only did he not know the answers, even if he did, he would not dare to do anything under Elder Chi's watch. 2 hours passed. 4 hours passed. The number of people in the square decreased, but Yunchujio still had her head down, although she had stared at a few different green stone slabs. Another 4 hours passed and the sky gradually darkened. Yunchujio was completely unaware. She continued to stare at the patterns on the stones under the moonlight. Feng Ming ended his meditation and saw that Yunchujio was still staring at it. He asked worriedly, "Junior sister little Jio, are you okay?" Yunchujio waved her hand and continued staring as if she was possessed. Seeing this, Feng Ming had no choice but to take out a few buns from his storage bag and pass them to Yunchujio. Yunchujio could not resist eating as she stared at the green stone slab while eating the steamed buns. "Junior sister little Jio, it's getting late. I'll send you back first. If you're interested in the patterns on these, come back tomorrow." Yunchujio finally raised her head and said sincerely to Feng Ming, "Senior brother Feng Ming, do me a favor and help me apply for another day off. I want to study these patterns properly." "Junior sister little Jio, are these patterns special?" Feng Jio asked curiously. Although he had not known Yunchujio for very long, he felt that this little girl was always able to do some unexpected things. There should be a big secret behind this. But I've only discovered a little clue. I need time to continue to study it and cannot stop, or else my train of thought will be cut off. Yunchujio knew that she had to get Feng Ming's support, so she explained patiently. Chapter 162. There are treasures. A big secret? Feng Ming was suddenly energized. He patted his chest and said, "No problem. Leave it to me." "Thank you, senior brother Feng Ming," Yunchujio said with a smile. "Okay. Then you'll go and tell Elder Huang now." Feng Ming turned around and was about to leave. "Wait. Senior brother Feng Ming, you have to stay here and protect me. Write a note and get Little Black to send it." Yunchujio pointed at the little black bird that was struggling to eat the steamed bun. Feng Ming said suspiciously, "Can it do it? This is just a young fire-breathing crow, right? It hasn't fully developed its intelligence yet. Would it be able to do its task well?" Little Black was immediately unhappy. Its bean-like eyes looked at Feng Ming with disdain. "This young master didn't even shun you for using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. You actually dare to doubt me? Isn't it just sending a letter? This young master can send a letter even with my eyes closed, okay?" Feng Ming felt as if he was hallucinating. From the eyes of Little Black he could actually see disdain and ridicule. How could a low-level fire-breathing crow have such a human-like expression? Yun Chujio urged Feng Ming to write a note for Elder Huang as she wrote a note for Yun Chuzi before tying it to Little Black's claw. Little Black looked at Feng Ming with disdain, then flapped its short wings and flew away. After a while, the little black bird flapped its short wings and flew back to her. Feng Ming was amused. Junior sister Little Jiu, I told you that this little black bird is unreliable, right? Look, it definitely couldn't find its way back, so it flew back again. Little Black's pizzazed eyes revealed a mocking expression as it cried out twice. Yun Chujio untied the note from the little black bird's leg. As expected, it was a reply from old Huang and Yun Chuzi. I really did it? And it's so fast. Is it really just a young fire-breathing crow? Feng Ming was in disbelief. Yes, it's a battle crow among fire-breathing crows. Yun Chujio said lightly and continued to study the patterns on the stone. Feng Ming and Little Black were dumbfounded. What the hell was a battle crow? Yun Chujio did not have the time to bother with these two. She began to study the patterns on the green stone slab. It seemed that there was already a clue. Yun Chujio's speed of observation became faster and faster. Feng Ming's heart was like a cat scratching. What secret was hidden in the green stone slab? This square seemed to have existed for tens of thousands of years and no one had noticed anything unusual. Could junior sister Little Jiu really have discovered something? The successive sect masters and elders had not discovered anything. Could it be that junior sister Little Jiu was even more powerful than them? Was that not too ridiculous? Junior sister Little Jiu did not even have spirit energy. Time passed bit by bit. It was unknown how the news had spread, but Master Xinyuan, the 5 peak masters and some elders had all arrived at the square. Feng Ming was afraid that they would blame Yun Chujio, so he wanted to go forward and remind Yun Chujio to come over and greet them. Master Xinyuan waved his hand, indicating that he should not disturb Yun Chujio. Feng Ming's heart was in a mess. He did not know why things were getting out of hand. Was Master Xinyuan, the 5 peak masters, and the elders idle because there was nothing to fear for? What are they doing here in the middle of the night? Moreover, Master Xinyuan and the other peak masters were very excited. What was going on? Yun Chujio seemed to have been immersed in some mysterious realm, completely unaware of the arrival of the Master Xinyuan and the others. Yun Chujio suddenly raised her head to look at the sky, then ran to the side of a green stone slab and shouted excitedly, "Senior brother Feng Ming. Quick, quick. Pry open this green stone slab, there are treasures underneath." Chapter 163. A demonic barrier. Without waiting for Feng Ming to agree, Elder Chu leaped over. Where? What treasure is under there? Let me dig. Only then did Yun Chujio realize that Master Xinyuan and the others were there. Yun Chujio glared angrily at Feng Ming. But I've been searching all night and these people actually took advantage of me. I'm so wronged. Feng Ming rubbed his nose and thought to himself, each of these people is more powerful than the last. What would he dare to say? Elder Chu was already excitedly prying open the green stone slabs. These green stone slabs were all polished from 10,000-year-old southern jade, and each of them weighed more than 1,000 catties. However, this was a piece of cake for Elder Chu. Hold on. The southern jade square is the 10,000-year-old legacy of our spirit radiance sect. How can it be damaged just because of a little girl's nonsense? Xiao Pancher had always looked down on Yun Chujio. At this moment his brows were tightly knitted together. Sect leader, Elder Xiao's words are not without reason. Yun Chujio is just an insignificant servant without any spiritual power, and she hasn't even entered the sect for a month. She really doesn't have much credibility. That's right. Over the past 10,000 years our spirit radiance sect has produced many talents, but those heaven's favorites didn't discover anything. Could it be that a little girl like her could discover something? This is too ridiculous. That's right. We can't easily pry open this green stone slab. This is disrespectful to the ancestors of the past generations. Everyone was discussing animatedly. Most people felt that Yun Chujio was simply fooling around. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. It would be better if they did not believe her. When the time came, she would quietly pry open the green stone slab and the treasures would all belong to her alone. Elder Chu had a temperamental personality. He rolled his eyes and said, "Don't make everything sound so serious. It's not like you won't close it after prying open it. What can you do about it? Besides, what's wrong with this tan girl? She has been staring at the green stone slab for half a night. Who would be able to mess around like that for half a night? Sec Master, what do you think we should do? I don't think the girl is messing around. There must be something down there. Master Xianyuan pondered for a moment before saying, let's pry it open. The founders won't blame us. It's time for the secret of 10,000 years to see the light of day again. Elder Chu exerted some force, and the thick and heavy green stone slab was slowly pried open. 2 more elders came over and each held one side of the green stone slab. They lifted the green stone slab and gently placed it to the side. Everyone's gaze focused on the dark brown soil. The few elders began to dig, but they had already dug 6 feet deep and they still had no results. Everyone could not help but feel a little discouraged. Elder Shao and the others who opposed the idea revealed expressions of as expected. This was simply impossible. How could a little girl without spirit energy be more powerful than them? Was that not just a joke? Elder Chu was initially full of confidence, but as the hole was dug deeper and deeper, his heart began to beat faster. Could it be that the black girl was wrong? 6 feet, 9 feet, 10 feet. Even when it was 20 feet deep, there was still nothing. An elder curled his lips. Sect Master, it's better to fill up the soil. There's simply nothing. This is a waste of time. Otherwise, when the sun rises, the disciples will take us as jokes. Master Xianyuan was also a little uncertain. Could it be that there really was nothing? Yun Chujio walked to the edge of the pit. She shouted toward the deep pit, hey. Hurry up and get out. Otherwise you can only play dead below. Don't you want to come out and see this colorful world? Don't you want to see all kinds of delicious food? Don't you want to see a magnificent beauty like me? Everyone's face froze. Was Yun Chujio possessed? What was the use of shouting? Were there any living things down there? Chapter 164. Must be an immortal artifact. Junior sister Little Gio. Could it be that the thing below is alive? Feng Ming's eyes lit up as he asked Yun Chujio. I don't know either. However, I feel that even if a rolling pin is buried underground for 10,000 years, it should have gained sentience, right? Yun Chujio said casually. Everyone originally had high hopes, but after hearing Yun Chujio's words, they were instantly discouraged. It turned out that she was just spouting nonsense. Nonsense. This is simply nonsense. Do you think that things can just give birth to intelligence? What's more, a rolling pin? Nonsense. I told you there won't be anything down there. Hurry up and fill up the soil. Although Yun Chujio has only entered the sect for a short period of time, she has caused a lot of trouble. She must be severely punished. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Severely punished her? Fuck. You still dare to say that? Did I drag you here or did I kidnap you? Don't you know what an uninvited guest is? You are. You really are shameless. Of course, these words were all secretly criticized by Yun Chujio. She did not have the courage to openly seek death. Just as everyone was discussing, the ground of the entire southern Jade Square began to tremble. A faint light could be seen from under the soil. Master Xianyuan was stunned for a moment before he shouted, "Set up the formation." The 5 peak masters were the first to react. They sat down cross-legged in various directions. 6 streaks of spiritual energy shot into the sky and a curtain of light enveloped the entire square. The 6 of them had set up a spirit radiant star formation. It could not only isolate the spiritual energy from leaking out, but it could also isolate the prying eyes of the outside world. Everyone was extremely excited. There really was a rare treasure. A treasure that had existed since 10,000 years ago must be an immortal item. The appearance of such a rare treasure would definitely cause an earth-shattering phenomenon. If others were to target it, it would be too much of a loss. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the brown soil. Yun Chujio's heart was especially excited and conflicted. She was excited because her guess was right. There was indeed a treasure down there. She was conflicted because there were so many hungry wolves guarding there. Even if there was a treasure, she would not be able to reap the benefits. She was so upset she wanted to vomit blood. The ground was trembling more and more violently. The light emitted from the ground was so bright that people could hardly open their eyes. An immortal item. It must be an immortal item. Everyone was so excited that they were slightly trembling. How great of a blessing it was to be able to see an immortal item appearing in the world. At the moment when the light was at its peak, a streak of black light shot out from underground and flew straight into the sky. Fortunately, Master Xianyuan and the others had already set up the spirit radiant star formation. After that streak of black light crashed into the curtain of light, its speed slowed down for a moment before it struggled to escape. Seeing that the situation was not good, Master Xianyuan hurriedly shouted, "Everyone, quickly lend a hand to the 6 of us." The elders, including Feng Ming, sat behind the 6 of them and transferred their spiritual power into the bodies of Master Xianyuan and the 5 peak masters with their arms. The spirit radiant star formation's curtain of light became more and more solid. After the black ray crashed into it a few times, it still could not escape. Could not help but dive down in a fluster, looking like it was going to kill someone. When the black ray rushed down, it realized that other than the people who set up the array, there was also a tan girl sitting on the green stone slab eating a bun. Beside her, there was an ugly bird pecking at the bun and eating it. Could not help but be a little dumbfounded. Actually, this matter was not bad. Yun Chujie was really heartless as she thought about it that way. The treasure did not belong to her, so why should she get involved? She still had 2 buns left from what Feng Ming had given her, so she ran to the side with Little Black to eat the buns. Chapter 165. This damn thing wants to kill me. The black ray felt that it had received a great insult. This human and this bird are looking down on me. Can't you see those idiots trying their best to trap me? Why are you still in the mood to eat buns? Are you that brave? In a fit of anger, the black ray headed toward Yun Chujie. Yun Chujie never expected that the dark ray would come toward her, and from the looks of it, it was going to kill her. Hence she jumped up and out with a roar. "Help! Help! It's trying to kill someone. This damn thing is going to kill me. Hurry up and save me. You were released by me, yet you repay kindness with enmity. You shameless bastard, you actually want to kill me. Am a good for nothing without any spiritual power. Don't you think that it would be unfair to kill me?" Yun Chujie shouted as she fled across the square. The dark ray chased after her relentlessly and seemed to have found some fun. It could have caught up to her in an instant, but it kept a distance that was neither too far nor too close to play with Yun Chujie. Master Xianyuan and the others were worried that Yun Chujie would be in trouble, but they were also afraid that the dark ray was luring the tiger away from the mountain. Once they withdrew their hands to save Yun Chujie, it would take the opportunity to break out of the spirit radiant star formation. Master Xianyuan frowned. "Send 10 people to help Yun Chujie." Yun Chujie, who was running away with her head in her hands, could not help but feel a slight warmth in her heart. Although there were many dregs in the spirit radiant sect, Master Xianyuan was still not bad. When the dark ray saw that another 10 people had come to catch it, it did not care at all. It seemed to be even more excited, so everyone's faces stiffened as they watched the scene in front of them. The 10 elders jumped up and down to capture the ray. While the dark ray dodged, it continued to chase after Yun Chujie. After a full hour of commotion, Yun Chujie was furious. "Fuck. You unspeakable thing. Don't you just want to kill me? Come and kill me. Even if I die, I won't spare you. I'll transform into a fierce ghost to pester you every day." Although Yun Chujie said so, all the spiritual power in her body was gathered in her right hand. Once the dark light really made a move, it would take the risk of revealing its secret to strike her. I don't believe that other than me and Little Black, there are still people who aren't afraid of being struck by lightning. The dark light clearly did not expect Yun Chujie to suddenly stop running and even dare to threaten it. It hovered in front of Yun Chujie, seemingly wavering. At that moment, the 10 elders gathered around. The black ray seemed to be a little restless and the light on its body dimmed a little. No one noticed that a white light that was as thin as a needle separated from the black ray's body and hid between Yun Chujie's brows. Yun Chujie was prepared to strike the black ray with lightning. Who would have thought that this thing could employ tricks? After the white light disappeared between Yun Chujie's brows, the dark ray completely dissipated and fell onto the green stone slab with a thud. It turned out to be a pitch-black short stick that was about 1.5 feet long. Elder Chu was the first to jump over and pick up the stick. "Ha! I never thought that I'd be able to see an immortal weapon in this lifetime. No, that's not right. Why doesn't this black stick have any spiritual energy? It looks more like a rolling pin. What's going on?" Everyone was shocked and gathered around. Master Xianyuan took the stick from Elder Chu and examined it carefully. He realized that it was just an ordinary stick made of black iron. What was going on? Everyone looked at each other in confusion. This stick was shining brightly before. How did it become a dull mortal artifact? Chapter 166. Yun Chujio. Everyone was dumbfounded and only Yun Chujio was feeling proud of herself. She deserved it. I said to take advantage of this easy to obtain and highly rewarding situation. Who knew it was so easy for me? Although they did not know what was hidden between her eyebrows, it was definitely not simple. In the end they were still doing her a favor. This feeling of everyone losing and me winning alone was too satisfying, okay? Although this fellow was feeling proud in her heart, she had an expression of disbelief on her face. Just now the stick was still chasing after me. How did it suddenly become a rolling pin? The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. Needless to say, Yun Chujio's words were quite appropriate. The stick was really not much different from a rolling pin. However, everyone felt that something was strange. Just a moment ago this stick was still awe-inspiring. How did it become a rolling pin in the next moment? Master Xinyuan looked at the sky. After all this trouble, the sun was starting to rise from the east. He frowned and said, "First, stick this stick with a confinement talisman and then put it into the spirit tool pavilion. We'll investigate when we have time." Master Xinyuan paused at this point and looked at Yun Chujio. There was a conflicted expression on his face, as if there were some words that he could not say. Everyone was puzzled. What was wrong with the sect master? Feng Ming was shocked. Could it be that the sect master was going to blame junior sister little Jiao? Yun Chujio's heart also sank. If the sect master really wanted to punish her, she would say that she was not the one who pried up the green stone slab, and that she was not the one who dug up the soil. What right did he have to punish her? Right. If he wanted to punish her, he would say so. Master Xinyuan pondered for a long time before finally continuing. When the successive leaders of the Spirit Radiance sect passed on the throne, they would pass on a verbal order from the founder of the Spirit Radiance sect, Patriarch Linghua. That is, if any of the Linghua disciples were to discover the secret of the Southern Jade Square, that person would be his successor disciple. After Master Xinyuan finished speaking, there was no reaction from the crowd for a long time. They understood every word that the sect leader said. However, they could not put two and two together. Suddenly, Feng Ming cried out in surprise, "Heavens! Sect leader, do you mean that junior sister little Jiao is now the personal disciple of our Spirit Radiance sect's founder Patriarch Linghua?" Master Xinyuan smiled bitterly and nodded. Boom. The elders finally reacted. They could not believe their ears. Elder Chu counted with his fingers. "We are the 10th generation disciples of the Spirit Radiance sect. If the Tan girl is the personal disciple of the founder, then she is the 2nd generation disciple. We can't even be considered as great-great-grandchildren. Sect master, are you kidding me?" Xiao Pan's old face turned red. He could not accept the fact that this Tan girl who did not have any spiritual power had suddenly become an elder with an extremely high seniority. Master Xinyuan smiled bitterly and nodded. For a moment he also wanted to hide this verbal order, but he decided against it. Patriarch Linghua must have had his reasons for doing so. Yun Chujio's heart was practically bubbling with joy. What did it mean to become rich overnight? What did it mean to have a piece of pie falling from the sky? What did it mean to walk a dog, it defecating and having luck fall into your arms? Yun Chujio was finally going to stand out and glorify her ancestors. All of you scums tremble. This fellow had long since selectively forgotten that it was not her who pried up the stone slab and that it was not her who dug up the soil. The 10th generation sect master of the Spirit Radiance sect, Xinyuan Chongkong, greets Master Yun. Master Xinyuan respectfully bowed to Yun Chujio. When the others saw Master Xinyuan did that, although they were not convinced, they did not dare to be negligent. "Greeting Master Yun." Cough cough. Yun Chujio coughed dryly. "Everyone. Children. Please stand up." Chapter 167. As long as this little ancestor agrees, children. The corners of everyone's mouths twitched, and the blue veins on the foreheads of some of the short-tempered elders bulged. This was simply absurd. Too absurd. When they thought about how they would have to bow and greet the Tan girl every time they saw her in the future, the elders were on the verge of breaking down. Sect master. Although this is the verbal instruction of the founding ancestor, everything has to be flexible. Not only is Yun Chujio young and inexperienced, the most important thing is that she doesn't have any spirit energy at all. If the other sects were to know that our Spirit Radiance sect has such an ancestor, they would definitely laugh their heads off. That's right. Even if Yun Chujia's spiritual power isn't high, we can use pills and spiritual stones to increase her cultivation level. However, she can't cultivate at all. She's like mud that can't be supported by a wall. Sect leader, if it really doesn't work, we can give Yun Chujio some other compensation such as inner sect disciples and spiritual stones. If there really is such a little ancestor, we won't be able to hold our heads up when we go out. Yun Chujio secretly pursed her lips. Did they think she was stupid? No matter how many spirit stones there were, how could they compare to the position of the grand retired emperor of the Spirit Radiance sect? She was definitely going to be the little ancestor. Little Shenyuan, since everyone is so unconvinced, then let's just forget about it. There's no need to give me any spirit stones as compensation. Let's just pretend that nothing happened. In any case, Master Linghua won't come to your dreams in the middle of the night to scold you, nor will he send down some heavenly punishment to punish unfilial disciples. It's really nothing. Yun Chujio said with her small hands behind her back. He did not care. Little Shenyuan? Master Zuanyuan's face stiffened. This title seemed to date back to when he was a child hundreds of years ago. This little girl was really a trickster. It was obvious that she was taking a step back in order to advance. Master Shenyuan was in a difficult position. He could not disobey Master Linghua's verbal order, but most of the elders present had a strong sense of resistance. If he got Yun Chujio to take the position of little ancestor, she probably would not be able to convince the public. What should he do? Sect master, although we can't disobey the verbal orders of Patriarch Linghua, this matter has been going on for 10,000 years. Even the Patriarch wouldn't have thought that the person who would discover the secret 10,000 years later would be a little girl without spiritual power. Why don't we compromise? If Yun Chujio can be ranked in the top 10 in the new disciple trial 1 year later, then we'll acknowledge her identity as the little ancestor Yun. If she can't be ranked, then we'll give her a spot as an inner disciple. We'll let her peacefully spend the rest of her life in our Spirit Radiance sect. Elder Shao said with a frown. As soon as Elder Shao finished speaking, the elders who held opposing opinions expressed their agreement. Sect master, Elder Shao's idea isn't bad. We also think that this is a good way to handle it. These elders thought to themselves. Yun Chujio, a good-for-nothing without any spirit energy, wanted to be ranked in the top 10. That was simply wishful thinking. This way they could not only shut her mouth, but also prevent Spirit Radiance sect from becoming a laughingstock. It was truly a very good idea. Master Shenyuan frowned. Getting into the top 10 within a year was clearly just to make things difficult for Yun Chujio. It was simply impossible for Yun Chujio to achieve. Just as Master Shenyuan was about to say something, Yun Chujio spoke. Little Shenyuan, you don't have to make things difficult for me. I will agree to it. When the time comes, this little ancestor will definitely make you completely convinced. However, little Shenyuan, you have to agree to 3 additional conditions. Little ancestor, please speak. Master Shenyuan was truly speechless. This little girl had entered the character too quickly, right? Always thinking of herself as little ancestor. Her skin was extraordinarily thick. Chapter 168. 3 conditions. The first condition is that I can enter and leave the sect's library as I please. The second condition is that the rolling pin belongs to me. The third condition is that you give me a gold medal to exempt me from death. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Everyone thought that Yun Chujio would ask for spirit stones or medicinal pills, but they did not expect her to raise such 3 conditions. The first condition was not a big deal, but the second and third conditions were a bit trickier to deal with. Although that black stick looked like an ordinary stick now, how could the thing left behind by Patriarch Linghua just be an ordinary thing? As for the third condition, it was even more ridiculous. If Yun Chujio betrayed the sect, then with the so-called get-out-of-jail freak token would come to her aid. Would that not allow one to do whatever they wanted? Master Shenyuan pondered for a moment. Little ancestor Yun, I can agree to these 3 conditions, but I also have 3 conditions. Little Shenyuan, speak. Yun Chujio said nonchalantly, but inwardly she cursed at the old fox. First, before your identity is officially confirmed, I hope that little ancestor Yun will not reveal anything to anyone. Of course, no one here will leak this matter and everything will be the same as before. Little ancestor Yun is still a servant of our Spirit Radiance sect. Master Zuanyuan's words were deeply appreciated by Elder Shao and the others. When they thought of bowing to such a little girl, they almost broke down. Yun Chujio nodded. Sect leader, I agree to this condition. When Master Xianyuan saw that Yun Chujio immediately entered the role, he could not help but think highly of Yun Chujio in his heart. Then he said, "Second, our Spirit Radiance sect doesn't have the so-called death exemption token. However, as the sect leader, I promise you that as long as you don't do anything that betrays the sect, I can exempt you from a punishment." Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. "I also agree to this condition. Thirdly, if the sect is in danger, little ancestor Yun, please consider the bigger picture and help us." As soon as Master Xianyuan finished speaking, everyone's faces froze. "Sect leader, have you been kicked in the head by a spirit beast? How could such a useless snack without spirit energy help them?" The crowd looked at Yun Chujio again and was even more furious. They saw Yun Chujio touching her chin and lowering her head in deep thought, as if she was really considering whether to agree to this condition. They thought to themselves that they had seen thick-skinned people, but they had never seen such a shameless person. Yun Chujio thought for a moment and then said seriously, "Well, as your elder, if it doesn't hurt my life, I will help you." Everyone was so angry that they almost fainted. "Yun Chujio, do you still have any sense of shame? Who do you think you are? You dug out a broken stick and you really became a genius from that thrash you were? You really think you've become the thigh of Spirit Radiance sect? You even said that if it didn't harm your life then you would help. You really think too highly of yourself. Even if we were beaten to death we wouldn't ask for your help." The corner of Master Xuanyuan's eyes twitched. The reason why he mentioned this condition was just in case. After all, Grandmaster Linghua would not leave such a verbal order for no reason. However, no matter how he looked at it, Yun Chujio did not seem like a person who could save Spirit Radiance sect from danger. "Alright, since that's the case, then according to what Elder Shao said, if little ancestor Yun can be ranked in the top 10 in the new disciple trials in a year's time, then we will acknowledge your identity as little ancestor Yun. If you can't be ranked, we'll also give you a spot as an inner disciple. We'll pretend that what happened today never happened." Master Xianyuan announced his final decision. Chapter 169. Little Noodle or Little Stick. Yun Chujio took the black stick and carried it with a valiant spirit. Yes, she carried it away. But why is this damn broken stick so heavy? Yun Chujio used all her strength to barely carry it and staggered away with the stick. Master Xianyuan and the others looked at Yun Chujio's back and the corners of their eyes twitched. No matter how they looked at this Yun Chujio, it just didn't make sense. Could Patriarch Linghua have made a mistake? A few elders filled the soil back in and then carefully covered the green stone slab on it again. Seeing that there were no traces left, they all dispersed. Feng Ming was stunned for a long time before he also left in a daze. Yun Chujio cursed as she walked. "Fuck. I'm just looking for trouble for myself. Such a broken stick is not only useless, it's also so heavy. I might as well throw it here." After saying that, Yun Chujio actually threw the black stick on the ground and then hopped toward the dormitory. After Yun Chujio walked for a distance, Little Black cried out in alarm, "Master! Master! Quickly turn around. The stick has become a spirit. The stick has become a spirit." Yun Chujio was already mentally prepared. She turned around and saw the black stick jumping toward her. Yun Chujio curled her lips. "If you want to follow me and have a good life, then stop being so narrow-minded. Otherwise, I'll give you to little Xianyuan and have him lock you in the spirit tool pavilion so that you can sleep all day." The stick leaned forward a few times as if it was nodding. Yun Chujio said with disdain, "It's fine if you look ugly, but you're overweight. Hurry up and become lighter. Otherwise you can hop behind me." The black stick paused for a moment and then flew into Yun Chujio's hand. The corner of Yun Chujio's mouth curled up. It was indeed much lighter. "At least you're sensible. Don't worry, Master. One day, he'll let you regain your former glory and become the #1 rolling pin in the world." The black stick trembled a few times and then stopped moving. "Yes, Master. I have to give you a good name. Let me think." Yun Chujio held the stick with one hand and touched her chin with the other. Little Black looked at the black stick sympathetically. With the Master's level of naming, the name she gave would not be any better. "Actually, it's not bad for you to be called Little Black. But it's a pity that Little Black already has this name. Let me think again. Yes, I have it. You shall be called Little Flame." The black stick trembled even more violently. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. "What? You don't like the name Little Flame? Then do you want to be called Little Noodle or Little Stick?" The trembling of the black stick suddenly stopped. Yun Chujio nodded her head in satisfaction. That's right. A wise man submits to circumstances. You shouldn't try to go against my authority. Otherwise you'll only end up in an even worse situation. Little Black, I'll leave Little Flame's education to you from now on. Little Black agreed very happily. Although it was only a stick, this little lord also had a little brother. Yun Chujio took the stick and brought Little Black back to the dormitory. As it was early in the morning, they did not meet many people along the way. Although everyone was puzzled as to why Yun Chujio was jumping around with a rolling pin, no one went forward to ask. Yun Chujio jumped to the dormitory and muttered, "Anyway, I've applied for leave, so don't waste it. I can use this time to catch up on my sleep." After washing up, she took off her coat and lay on the bed. Not long after, she fell asleep. Yun Chujio let out a light snore. A white light sneakily shot out from between Yun Chujio's brows and went straight for the black stick that was placed at the door. Chapter 170. The wolf in sheep's clothing. Just as the white light was about to reach the black stick, Little Black flew over from the side and threw a purple fireball at the white light. The white light obviously did not expect Little Black to be able to release spiritual power, and it was a fireball with the power of lightning. In a hurry, it wanted to hide between Yun Chujio's eyebrows again. Unexpectedly, Yun Chujio, who was supposed to be sleeping, suddenly sat up and shot a bolt of lightning at it. The white light was shocked. Was it because it had been sleeping for too long? Why could a young fire-breathing crow shoot out a fireball with the power of thunder and lightning? Why could a trash without spiritual power shoot thunder and lightning? Plus it was purple. Yun Chujio finally saw the true appearance of the white light. It was a very small silver dragon with gleaming scales which made it look like white light. "Are you the spirit of the rolling pin?" Yun Chujio covered her brows with one hand and prepared to attack with the other. The silver dragon raised its neck and opened its mouth to speak in the soft voice of a little girl. "That's right. Why aren't you bowing when you see a senior? Little Wawa's disciples and grand-disciples are getting worse." Yun Chujio was shocked. "You're a female?" This sentence seemed to have touched the little silver dragon's sore spot. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it shouted, "So what if I'm a female?" "You're female." Yun Chujio's heart was intrigued and she probed, "Could it be that it's because you're a female that Patriarch Ling Hua buried you under the stone?" "You, how did you know?" The little silver dragon was obviously shocked. "I figured so. Could it be that ancestral master Ling Hua was afraid that after a long period of time he would develop feelings for you and fall in love with you? That's why he simply buried you under the green stone slab and waited for me to appear?" Yun Chujio's mind was wide open as she spoke with great joy. You're talking nonsense. Little Hua Hua isn't that kind of improper person. It's just that I'm Een and little Hua Hua is young, so I can't unleash my full power. Moreover, my body is a rod and little Hua Hua uses a sword. So before I ascended, he buried me under the green stone slab, waiting for the fated person. The silver dragon glared at Yun Chujio, obviously very dissatisfied with her arrangement of the former master. "Little Flame, you're wrong to say that. It's natural for men and women to love each other. How is that impolite? Don't worry, they'll definitely find a male rolling pin for you in the future so that you two can pair up." Yun Chujio winked at the little white dragon. "Little Flame? This rod has a name. It is the 9th Heaven Silver Dragon Wind Fire Rod, not something vulgar like Little Flame." The silver dragon was obviously very dissatisfied with Yun Chujio's name. Previously, it could only command the black rod to do some simple actions between Yun Chujio's brows. Otherwise, it would have protested long ago. "Little Flame, do you think you have the ability to negotiate with me? If my guess is correct, you must have encountered some kind of trouble. Either your spiritual power has been greatly reduced, or you've suffered a serious injury. Or you must have made some kind of oath to my master. Otherwise, how could a mere stone trap you? Now it's a matter of whether I want you or not. If you don't know what's good for you, I'll send you back to little Shen Yuan," Yun Chujio said with a sneer. The silver dragon clearly did not expect Yun Chujio to be so difficult to deal with. At first, it thought that Yun Chujio was the most useless among those people, so it was best to get rid of her. Therefore it hid between Yun Chujio's brows. Who would have thought that this was a freaking wolf in sheep's clothing, and it was also a wolf who ate people without spitting out their bones. The silver dragon looked at the little black bird who was staring with its green bean eyes, and then looked at Yun Chujio who had a cold smile on her face. With a sobbing voice it said, "Then what exactly do you want?" Chapter 171. The man in red. Yunchujio looked at the small silver dragon with a faint smile. "What do we want? Were you released by me, or did you avoid falling into the demon's claws because of me? Yet you're repaying kindness with enmity. At that time you wanted to shoot me to death, but later on you wanted to use me. Tell me, don't you think you've tarnished the reputation of those in the rod world? Do you have the face of a rod and the heart of a beast? Do you really not care about your reputation?" The little silver dragon had obviously never encountered such a situation before. Its head immediately drooped down and its claws twitched. "Right, I'm sorry. I just don't want to lose my freedom." Freedom? Only those who are strong enough have freedom. Even if you had rushed out of the Spirit Radiance sect at that time, do you think that you'd have freedom? Anyone who cultivates with a divine weapon like yours will fight over it until their head breaks and blood flows. Otherwise, why would my master bury you? Isn't it because he's afraid of causing a bloodbath because of you?" Yunchujio said with a serious expression. The silver dragon kept nodding. What you said makes sense. Then how can I become stronger? You definitely can't do it like this. Otherwise, why is it that you've been buried underground for 10,000 years but still can't break through Little Shenyuan and the other Spirit Radiant Star formation? However, I do have a way to make you stronger. Yunchujio stopped speaking at this point. The little silver dragon urged anxiously, "What way? Tell me." "Sigh. You might not believe me even if I tell you, so it's better not to say it. Forget it, Little Black, you should step aside and let Little Flame go out to explore. It's not a big deal. At most, it'll just be kept as a weapon." Of course, there might also be someone who felt that the material of this rod was not bad and put it back into the crafting furnace to forge a new weapon. "When that time comes, Little Flame, you'll be completely free," Yunchujio said indifferently. The little silver dragon was scared to tears. Sob sob. "Don't. If I enter the crafting furnace, I'll die, then I won't be me anymore. I beg you, quickly tell me the way." "Sigh, I'm just a soft-hearted person. Alright, seeing that you're so pitiful, I'll forget about the past and help you. Actually, the best way is for me to reluctantly accept you as a weapon. Firstly, I'm a low-key person, so no one will suspect that I'm holding a good weapon. Secondly, you also know that I hold a position similar to that of the retired emperor in the Spirit Radiant Star Formation sect. When the time comes, if I have any good things, it'll naturally come first. And when the time comes, you'll get some heavenly and earthly treasures to supplement you. Wouldn't your cultivation level go up? Third, as you have seen, Little Black and I are both great geniuses that rarely appear in 10,000 years. As the saying goes, you are the product of your environment. If you follow us, how can you not be powerful? Fourth, I'm the kindest person. I definitely won't mistreat you. In the future, I might even find you a male rod. When the time comes, you'll cultivate into human form and make a few more small rods. What a beautiful thing. Fifthly, I'm the disciple of the little Huahua that you mentioned. In the future, when I ascend, you can still meet your little Huahua." Yunchujio's smile was very gentle, as if a spring breeze had completely fooled the innocent little silver dragon. The little silver dragon said excitedly, "All right. I'll acknowledge you as my master. Let's form a contract." Yunchujio showed a forced expression. "All right. Then you better hurry up lest I regret it later." When the silver dragon heard that, it quickly rushed into the body of the black staff. Then Yunchujio bit her middle finger and dripped blood on the top of the black staff. After Yunchujio did as she was told, a ray of dark light shot through the roof of Yunchujio's house and into the sky. Success. Although the dark light was dazzling, fortunately, it only lasted for a short moment, so it did not attract anyone's attention. Those who saw it thought that their eyes were blurred. However, in the clouds, there happened to be an air transportation spiritual tool passing by. The decorations inside were extremely luxurious. Other than the man who controlled the air transportation spiritual tool, there was a red-clothed man lying on the soft couch. His long black hair was casually scattered behind him and he was playing with a skull in his hand. It was obviously an extremely terrifying thing, but when the man did it, it made people feel that it was pleasing to the eye. He was as lazy as a painting. After the man in red saw the flash of black ray, the corners of his mouth curled up. An immortal tool acknowledging its master? Interesting. Chapter 172. Rolling pin young master, shall we go down and take a look? The man controlling the air transportation spiritual tool asked for instructions. No need. The main business is more important. Come to the spirit radiance sect again when you have time. The red-clothed man exerted a little strength in his hand and the skull in his hand turned into powder. Then a new skull appeared in his hand. Yun Chujio did not know that she had already been targeted by someone. At that moment she had a look of despair on her face. When Yun Chujio saw that she had successfully formed the contract, she did not have the time to praise herself in her heart when she saw the rolling pin dancing in the room. Little flame, we've already formed the contract. Shouldn't you reveal your true form? Yun Chujio asked the rolling pin expectantly. Master, this is my true form. How awe-inspiring. The rolling pin flew a few rounds in front of Yun Chujio smugly. Yun Chujio looked at the 1.5-foot-long rolling pin. Although there was a dark light flashing around her, she really could not consider it awe-inspiring. She coughed dryly and asked, Little flame, didn't you say that you're the 9th heaven silver dragon wind fire rod? Shouldn't your true form be very awe-inspiring? The rolling pin paused in mid-air for a moment, then it turned its body longer and longer. Master, is that what you mean? I can turn into a very long form. Does that mean you change the length of your body whenever you want? Yun Chujio looked at Xiaohua expectantly. Of course I can. However, I can only unleash my full power when I transform into my true form. Yun Chujio was so angry that she began to twitch. If she could not unleash her full power, it would be useless even if she turned into a telephone pole. She finally understood why Ancestral Master Ling Hua did not care about using this so-called immortal artifact. It was too damn embarrassing. A vivid image immediately appeared in front of Yun Chujio's eyes. On the dueling platform, the other party took out a majestic large saber, and then she took out a rolling pin. Just thinking about it made her embarrassed. However, Yun Chujio changed her mind. The rolling pin also had the advantage of a rolling pin. At the very least, it could make the other party underestimate the opponent. Moreover, no one would have thought that a rolling pin was a so-called immortal artifact. Alright, then you can maintain this state. However, when you're outside, you have to hide the dark light so as not to attract other people's attention. Yun Chujio's ability to accept things was quick, so she decided to let the rolling pin be. After Yun Chujio successfully abducted the rolling pin, she yawned twice. You two play, you'll catch up on my sleep. Yun Chujio fell asleep very quickly. The little black bird and little flame looked at each other, then turned their heads in tacit understanding. What the hell? Little black thought to itself. It thought that it had taken in a little brother, but it did not expect it to be a little girl and a useless rolling pin. Just thinking about it made it embarrassed. Little flame looked down on the little black bird even more. It was ugly. How could it be as smart as it was? On top of that, it wanted to take the rolling pin in as a little brother. In its dreams, Yun Chujio slept until the sun set. She washed up briefly, then took out the food that she had borrowed from the big kitchen from her storage ring and called for the little black bird to eat. Before little black could fly over, the rolling pin floated over. Master, little flame also wants to eat. Little black hugged its wings and rolled on the ground laughing. Ha! I'm dying of laughter. You, a rolling pin, want to eat? Do you have a mouth? Do you have a stomach? Do you have a butt? There seemed to be green smoke coming out of the rolling pin and it hit Little Black. Little Black quickly flapped its short wings and landed on Yun Chujio's leg. Master, master, save me. The rolling pin is going to kill me. Chapter 173, Gluttonous Snake. Cough cough. Little Flame, stop. Although Little Black's words aren't pleasant to hear, I'm also very curious. How are you going to eat? Yun Chujio held back her laughter and asked the rolling pin. The small silver dragon floated out from the rolling pin. Master, I'm the one eating, not my main body. Yun Chujio felt that this was more like it. However, how much could such a small dragon eat? One bun was probably enough for it to eat several meals. However, after 15 minutes, Yun Chujio was no longer calm. What the fuck? What kind of dragon was this? It was simply a gluttonous snake. Although the small silver dragon was small in size, it was very gluttonous. It had already eaten 10 buns, but it actually did not have the slightest intention of being full. Cough cough. Little Flame, although this bun tastes good, eating too much will cause indigestion. Master, I've been hungry for 10,000 years. Can't you let me have a full meal? The silver dragon said aggrievedly. Yun Chujio touched her nose. Alright, forget I said anything. At worst she could just go to the big kitchen and borrow food. The silver dragon finally expressed that it was full before Yun Chujio collapsed. Little Black said disdainfully, no wonder it looks like a rolling pin. It turns out that it's a good-for-nothing. The silver dragon returned to Little Flame's body with a whoosh and smacked the little black bird. Yun Chujio knew that nothing would really happen to the two of them, so she ignored them and went back to the house to clean up the mess. Although the fireball and the lightning that Little Black shot out were controlled, they still inevitably made a mess in the house. She was lucky that the house didn't burn down. Junior sister Little Gio, are you home? Feng Ming's voice came from outside the courtyard. Senior brother Feng Ming, I'm here. Come in quickly. Yun Chujio replied and left the house. Feng Ming saw Yun Chujio and scratched his head unnaturally. Well, little ancestor Yun, can I continue to call you junior sister Little Gio? Yun Chujio bared her teeth. We're one and the same. You'll always be my senior brother Feng Ming. Feng Ming chuckled. I knew that junior sister isn't the kind of person who sticks to etiquette. The sect leader asked me to tell you something. If anyone asks about what happened last night, you can say that. Yun Chujio nodded repeatedly. She thought to herself, Master Shenyuan is indeed an old fox. How cunning. Not long after Feng Ming left, Yun Chuzi and the others came back from work. Everyone went straight to Yun Chujio's courtyard. Little Gio, are you all right? What did you find in this square? Yun Chulu could not hide his words. The moment he entered the courtyard, he started shouting. I'm fine. I'm fine. I just found a few green stone slabs with very tiny holes. Senior brother Feng Ming has already reported it to the sect leader. The sect leader has already sent someone to repair it, and he even gave me permission to enter the library to read books in the future. Yun Chujio told her what Feng Ming had told her. Really? That's great. I told you that our little Gio is smart. She definitely won't be in a daze on the square for no reason. Yun Chusi's face was full of pride. Qing Si looked at Yun Chujio suspiciously. Little Gio, why would the very tiny holes on the green stone slabs alert the sect leader? Qing Si, you don't know this. The Southern Jade Square was built by the founder of our Spirit Radiance sect, Patriarch Ling Hua. Naturally, there shouldn't be any damage. Those tiny holes were created by a type of stone-eating ant. If we don't take action soon, the entire Southern Jade Square will be destroyed. Yun Chujio said nonsense with a straight face. Chapter 174. Yun Chujio's method. With Yun Chujio's explanation, everyone nodded their heads. No wonder the sect leader rewarded Little Gio. Little Gio had indeed made a great contribution. Yun Chuzi took out the dinner that he had brought for Yun Chujio from his storage bag. Yun Chujio took it with a smile. Everyone chatted for a while more before Yun Chuzi and the others left. Yun Chujio saw the rolling pin flying toward the stone table and quickly put the food into her storage ring. The rolling pin awkwardly turned around and went to play with Little Black. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. She did not know how good this rolling pin was, but it was truly a foodie. The next day, the news of Yun Chujio receiving the rewards spread throughout the entire Spirit Radiance sect. Everyone felt that Yun Chujio had really lucked out. One had to know that the access to the library was limited according to one's status. Servant disciples could only borrow books on the first level, but this Yun Chujio had suddenly obtained the same access as the elders. It was really enviable. Those who came to the cafeteria to eat could not help but say a few words of jealousy. Fortunately, Yun Chujio was a big-hearted person. One could say whatever they wanted to say and she would just ignore you. When everyone saw that Yun Chujio was not affected by it, it became pointless to talk about it. After a few days, no one brought it up anymore. Yun Chujio was a little troubled. Although she had access to the library, she did not have the time. She had 3 meals a day and sometimes she had to cook supper. How could she have the time to read books? Hence this fellow started thinking. One day when everyone was having lunch, Yun Chujio walked to Elder Huang and said seriously, Elder Huang, I have a suggestion. I don't know if it's appropriate. Elder Huang smiled. What suggestion? Just say it. Elder Huang, why are the staff in the big kitchen not welcomed? Yun Chujio asked curiously. Elder Huang's face was very awkward. Yun Chu quickly tugged at Yun Chujio's sleeve. Yun Chujio winked at her. Sai, our spiritual power is too low, that's why it's like this. Elder Huang sighed. Then why is our spiritual power too low? Yun Chujio continued to ask. This time without waiting for Elder Huang to speak, Ho Tian said, firstly, our aptitude is not as good as the others. Secondly, we are busy all day, how will we have time to cultivate? Yun Chujio snapped her fingers. That's right. The crux of the problem lies here. There might be some slight differences in aptitude, but the crux is that we don't have time to cultivate. If we have the time and the correct cultivation method, I believe that our Middle Peak kitchen isn't inferior to anyone from any department. Mei Li said in a muffled voice, little girl, do you even need to say that? The main thing is that we really don't have time to cultivate. If we cook any meal too late it would be bad. Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth. Elder Huang, I have a good idea. It won't delay work but it can also free up time for us to cultivate. What idea? Everyone's eyes lit up as they looked at Yun Chujio with hope. Yun Chujio straightened her small body and said with her hands behind her back, although some words may not sound good on the surface, I have to say it today. Although everyone is working, it's inevitable that there will be times when they are sneaky and cunning. Why is that? When Yun Chujio said that, some people could not help but feel a little guilty. Everyone was lazy at some point and sometimes it was inevitable that they would be lazy. This is because of the big pot of rice. To put it bluntly, it's just to make up the numbers. No matter how much you do, it will be the same. My method is to divide us into 3 groups and work in turns. Bei Yuan was the first to react. Little Jiu, you mean that one group can work while the other 2 groups can cultivate? That's right. That's exactly what I mean. This way, everyone can rest for 2 days after a day of work. Of course, if everyone's enthusiasm is aroused, they can also be divided into 4 groups and 5 groups. Then everyone will have more time to rest. What do you think of my idea? Chapter 175. Envy, jealousy, and hatred. Everyone did not speak for a long time. Yun Chujio touched her nose. Could it be that it was not possible? After a while, the dumbfounded people seemed to have woken up from a dream and burst out with great joy. Mei Li grinned and laughed loudly. You Tan girl. You have so many wicked ideas. Not bad. Not bad. Old Huang, I think this idea will work. Yes, this idea is brilliant. If there are no special matters, 1/3 of the people can be on duty, just enough to cope with the normal 3 meals a day. There will definitely be no problems. When I think of having 2 days of rest, not only am I willing to cover a 3-person job, I would be willing to take on 5. Yes, this way we can have time to cultivate properly. Let's see if those people still dare to look down on us. Good. Very good. Very good. Little Jiu, you're such a smart child. No wonder you got the sect leader's reward. Elder Huang was very happy. With this, not only do we have the time to cultivate, but we also have more time to rest than any other department in the servant department. Over time, I don't believe that we still can't beat them. Yun Chujio smiled mischievously. Oh, everyone stop praising me. I just want to be able to slack off openly. When Yun Chujio said this, everyone laughed as well. The atmosphere in the kitchen was extremely harmonious. At that moment, Manager Ding walked in from outside. Everyone's laughter stopped abruptly and the atmosphere became very subtle. Manager Ding's face was gloomy as he glanced around. He snorted coldly and walked out. Old Huang, what kind of background does this Manager Ding have to make you so afraid of him? Yun Chujio asked curiously. Old Huang sighed. Our small temple really can't accommodate this great Buddha. Manager Ding's brother is Elder Qi's true disciple, Ding Lang. The status of a true disciple is quite high, so how can we afford to offend him? Moreover, Elder Qi is an elder of our pill refining room, so we really can't afford to offend him. Yun Chujio was stunned and cursed in her heart. It's Elder Qi again? If it was another elder it would be easier to handle. She used her status as the little ancestor that she had yet to settle down to suppress him. However, she did not see Elder Qi on the square that day, so he did not know her identity. It seemed that this matter had to be planned meticulously. Everyone don't bother about him. Come, let's split up the groups first. Yun Chujio greeted everyone warmly. The atmosphere in the big kitchen became lively again. Everyone started to discuss the matter of the groups. Very soon, Elder Huang divided everyone into 3 groups. He even very considerately divided the Yun siblings into 1 group. This way they could have their rest time together. In the beginning, everyone was still a little worried. The number of people had suddenly decreased by 2/3. Whether the remaining people could handle it or not, this kind of worry soon disappeared. The potential of a person was endless. The people on duty worked very hard in order to win 2 days of rest and completed the work without any mistakes. Thus, the Middle Peak Kitchen set a precedent for the servants of the Spirit Radiance sect. 1 day of work, 2 days of rest. It was simply too nourishing, was it not? Gradually, the other servants' departments discovered this matter. The other 5 Peaks kitchens followed suit and began to take turns working. However, the other departments could not do it. Every kettle had its lid in those positions and no one could replace each other. They could only look at the various Peaks kitchens with a face full of envy and hatred. As expected, what Yunchujio said back then was true. Even if it was a bad place, once Yunchujio went, it would become a good place. Chapter 176. I miss him so much. Yunchujio had made a great contribution, and the people in the big kitchen were very grateful to her. She was a little celebrity in the Middle Peak Big Kitchen, so she did not need to do any work at all. She was just like a mascot. Yunchujio was very obedient. Although everyone told her not to come to work, she still came to work on time. She felt that sometimes special treatment would inevitably cause dissatisfaction, so it was better to try to be like everyone else. Someone saw the rolling pin on her waist and asked curiously, "Little Joe, why is there a rolling pin on your waist? Why is it black?" "I picked it up at the back of the mountain. I thought it was quite fun, so I kept it. If there's nothing to do, I'll play with it," Yunchujio said indifferently. She also wanted to keep the rolling pin in her storage ring, but after thinking about it, she still felt that it was inappropriate as it had its downsides. Therefore, she might as well keep it at her waist. After a few jokes, they no longer paid attention to the rolling pin. As Yunchujio had more free time, the low-level demon beasts at the back of the mountain suffered. This girl had learned well. Since she did not want to build a fire at the back of the mountain, she would bring these demon beasts back and barbecue them in her own small courtyard. Yunchuzi and the others often came to Yunchujio's place to have a meal, so their days were very comfortable. In the evening, she counted with her fingers. It had been more than a month since the gigolo sucked her blood. Why had the gigolo not returned yet? Did he die? "Little Black, do you think something happened to the gigolo?" Yunchujio sat in the courtyard and muttered. Little Black stared at her with his pizzazed eyes and asked in confusion, "Master, don't you hate that gigolo the most? Why are you worried about him?" Yunchujio pouted. "Me? Worried about him? I'm worried that he's choking. I can't get rid of the grass in my dantian. If it weren't for that, I would have wanted that gigolo to choke." Little Black covered his mouth with his short wings and winked at Yunchujio desperately. Yunchujio was still talking non-stop. "Little Black, is your eye cramping? I'm worried about the gigolo. He's always pulling a long face like a donkey. I can't wait for him to die. He's always acting like I owe him 8 million taels of silver. He looks like he needs a beating. Let me tell you, if it weren't for the fact that I can't beat him, I would definitely beat him up and make him kneel on the ground and sing 'Conquer Me' all day long." Yunchujio was still scolding happily when Little Black said in its mind, Master, the gigolo is right behind you." Yunchujio was shocked, but she did not turn around immediately. Instead, she laughed out loud. "Little Black, how was it? Did I scold Senior Brother Bird well?" "That sissy, a typical gigolo, can't compare the wise and mighty Prince Charming. My Prince Charming is so handsome. When my Prince Charming looks at me, my whole body goes numb and my heart itches. My Prince Charming is the bright moon in the sky. He is the wild grass on the ground. My Prince Charming is my white moonlight and the mosquito blood on the wall. By the way, I haven't seen my Prince Charming for a long time. I miss him to death. Sigh, I can't eat or sleep well now. I miss him all day long. If at this moment my Prince Charming appeared in front of me, I would definitely be very happy," Yunchujio said as she shed a few tears. Little Black's face was filled with confusion. "Master, you're amazing. You're really too amazing. Her ability to invert black and white is truly unprecedented. One would never see it coming. It's just that I don't know if the malefic star will believe your nonsense." Chapter 177. You and I are severed. Yunchujio tried her best to clear her name. She praised Di Biming so much that it made him sound extremely rare and precious. However, her saliva was almost dry after she said that. There was no reaction after that. Yun Chujio could only turn around in embarrassment. She then pretended to be pleasantly surprised and shouted, "Oh my God! Am I dreaming? Prince Charming, why are you here?" Di Biming looked at Yun Chujio with a malicious look. "Why don't you continue to lie? You wish for me to die, don't you? Then I'll kill you today." Yun Chujio looked innocent. "Prince Charming, why would you say that? Do you think that what I said before was about you? Heavens, I was scolding Senior Brother Bird. Do you think that I'm a fool?" Di Biming was so angry that his eyes were red. He did not expect that black thing to think like that. If that was how she thought, then what was he doing? Yun Chujio saw that Di Biming was so angry that smoke was almost coming out of his head. She knew that this matter had blown up. And Yin and Enfeng looked at each other. They were so anxious that they stomped their feet. Their honorable sir had kept a straight face those few days. He could freeze people to death with it. He unexpectedly had an opportunity to drink blood and Yun Chujio happened to be there. The honorable sir would probably kill the tan girl. Should they stop him or stop her? If Yun Chujio was really killed, the honorable sir would definitely regret it. However, with their skills they might not be able to stop him. Di Biming raised his hand. Yun Chujio had finished her thoughts. What should they do? And Yin and Enfeng were about to step forward to stop him. They did not expect Di Biming to grit his teeth and withdraw his hand. "Black thing. You have repeatedly offended me. Not only have I not sinned against you, I have even taught you cultivation techniques and gave you rings. I have even given you countless spirit fruits and delicacies. I did not expect you to speak sweet words to me in front of me, but slander me behind my back. From now on you and I will be severed. I do not care about your blood." Di Biming felt so stifled that he could not breathe. However, he could not bring himself to kill Yun Chujio, so he turned around and was about to leave. Yun Chujio was stunned. She did not expect Di Biming to say such words. She felt that if she did not do something she would definitely regret it in the future. Yun Chujio stepped forward and hugged Di Biming's waist. "Prince Charming. Prince Charming. I was wrong. Those words were indeed meant for you. But they were just words of anger. When I thought about how you haven't come to see me for such a long time, and how you might be entangled by some little fairy, my heart ached." Yun Chujio saw that Di Biming did not shake her off, so she knew that there was still a way. Thus she said in tears, "Prince Charming, you still don't know me. I'm just a simple-minded fool. I say whatever comes to my mind. Some things can't be heard but seen with my eyes. Don't you believe in your own charm? Why would I lie to you?" Di Biming frowned. What Black Thing said made sense. What woman would not be moved by such an outstanding man like him? Moreover, he was so good to Black Thing. Unless she was not sincere, why would she not like this body? "My Prince Charming, you haven't had dinner yet, right? I happen to have the wind-blade rabbit that I just hunted from the back of the mountain today. I'll roast some meat for you." Yun Chujio saw that the situation had taken a turn for the better, so she quickly started to roast the meat. Enfeng and Yin also rushed forward to help. Ninth Miss was really a god. She was actually able to appease the Lord, who was in a rage. When the Lord was angry, even the Hall Master and his wife could not stop him. They did not expect Ninth Miss to be persuaded with just a few words and a few drops of tears. She was really amazing. Chapter 178. You have brought this upon yourself. Yun Chujio felt guilty in her heart and started to work enthusiastically. In a short while the fragrance of the roasted meat began to spread. Yun Chujio cut off a rabbit leg and handed it to Di Biming. He snorted and did not take it. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and cut the rabbit leg into small pieces. Then she picked it up with chopsticks and fed Di Biming. "Prince Charming, I was wrong. Please accept my sincere apology." Di Biming thought for a moment and slowly opened his mouth. Yun Chujio was delighted and served him even more attentively. "Prince Charming, try this piece. It has a little bit of muscle on it. It's really strong. Prince Charming, I helped you cool it down. It's not hot anymore. I'll feed you. Prince Charming, are you thirsty? Come drink some water." Di Biming's expression softened a lot, but he was still very angry in his heart. His words were only limited to yes and silence. Seeing Di Biming like this, Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and took out her rolling pin. She started to show off. "Prince Charming, I'll tell you a secret. Other than me and Little Black, no one else knows." After Di Biming saw the rolling pin, the corners of his eyes twitched. What the hell was this thing? It was a dark rolling pin. I dug it out from under Spirit Radiant Sect's southern Jade Square. It was buried by Patriarch Linghua. If I can get into the top 10 in the trial 1 year from now, it'll be Spirit Radiant Sect's little ancestor Yin. Di Baiming and Feng and the others were dumbfounded. And Feng might be protecting Yun Chujio in the dark, but there were many powerful figures in Spirit Radiant Sect. He did not dare to get too close to Southern Jade Square, so he did not know much of what happened that day. Yun Chujio told them everything in a cheerful manner. Then she saw Di Baiming and the other two looking dumbfounded. What? Something that had not been discovered for 10,000 years was discovered by her after one lesson? Was this ordinary-looking rolling pin an immortal artifact left behind by Patriarch Linghua? Or was it some ninth heaven silver dragon wind fire rod? Little ancestor Yun? Black Thing had become the true disciple of the founding patriarch of Spirit Radiance Sect? Was that not too ridiculous? Seeing that they did not quite believe it, Yun Chujio said straightforwardly, "Little Flame, come out and let them take a look. This master will allow you to eat some roasted meat." Thus, the incident that destroyed Di Baiming and the other two's worldview happened. A small silver dragon flew out from the pitch-black rolling pin and pounced toward the roasted meat on the stone table. "I'll eat, I'll eat, I'll eat, I'll eat." The little black bird blinked its green bean eyes. Due to its mistake earlier when it saw Little Flame starting to eat, it licked its beak and went over. "Master, let me have some too." Yun Chujio glared at it and waved her hand. Little Black quickly began to eat as well. And Feng pointed at the silver dragon that was eating furiously and stuttered, "This is the spirit of the rolling pin? A spirit that can eat?" Yun Chujio nodded, "Yes. Have you seen such a weapon spirit before?" And Feng shook his head like a rattle drum. He thought to himself, "Ever since I met you, I've completely opened my eyes." Di Baiming felt even more frustrated. The things that happened to the Black Thing were getting stranger, and he had a feeling that he could not control it. Thinking of this, Di Baiming snorted coldly and flung his sleeves and went into the house. Yun Chujio quickly followed him. "Prince Charming, let's practice calligraphy." Di Baiming walked to the desk and picked up a piece of rice paper. He stared at Yun Chujio coldly. "Is this what you want me to see?" Yun Chujio saw the words "Gigolo is shameless" and "Di Baiming is a stinky fish" written on rice paper. Her intestines were about to turn green with regret. What did it mean to bring disaster upon oneself? Me. It's me. Chapter 179. I can't do it. My Prince Charming, haven't I said this before? A child's words carry no harm. A child's words carry no harm. Yun Chujio was about to give herself a slap. She actually left such a piece of evidence laying around. She was simply courting death. Di Baiming snorted coldly. "Some things can't be heard but seen through the eyes." What else do you have to say this time?" Yun Chujio felt that she had dug a big hole for herself, and she could only try her best to put on an obsequious smile. "Prince Charming, isn't a harmless joke between lovers good to lighten the mood? Just like how you keep calling me Black Thing or Black Bean Sprout. I'm not angry either. I'm telling the truth." "Are you telling the truth? How am I like a gigolo? How am I like a stinky fish?" Di Baiming sat on the chair with a gloomy face. Yun Chujio straightened her small body. "Then how am I like a bean sprout?" Di Baiming pursed his lips. "Motherfucker, if you don't look like a bean sprout, then what do you look like? It's not as if you resemble a girl." Yun Chujio snorted indignantly. "That's because I'm still young. In a few years, I'll suffocate you with my chest." Di Baiming was stunned at first. Then his ears turned red. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, her thick-skinned face also turned red. The two of them fell into a subtle awkwardness and neither of them spoke. After a while, Di Baiming coughed dryly. "It won't happen again." Yun Chujio's eyes lit up and she said with a smile, "Prince Charming, I knew you were the most magnanimous. You won't argue with a little girl like me." Di Baiming snorted coldly but his expression eased up. After the two of them washed up, Yun Chujio quickly climbed to the side of the bed. "Prince Charming, I'll still sleep on the inner side and you'll sleep on the outer side. You don't even know. I couldn't sleep during the few days you left. I only fell asleep counting you. Counting sheep." Di Baiming had a depressed air around him. After hearing Yun Chujio's words, it miraculously disappeared completely. Yes, although the black thing scolded him, she still had him in its heart. Otherwise, why would she not be able to sleep without him? Di Biming took off his coat and lay on the outer side of the bed. Then he waved his hand to extinguish the candle. Has that bird boy been looking for you recently? Di Biming pretended not to care and asked. However, his hand was clenched into a fist. Senior brother Feng Ming often comes to look for me to play. He has helped me a lot. If it wasn't for senior brother Feng Ming, I wouldn't have gotten the rolling pin. Yun Chujio said thoughtlessly. Didn't I tell you to eat your meals and mind your own business? Didn't I tell you to keep a distance from him? Di Biming's face sank. Yun Chujio was amused. Prince Charming, are you worried that something is going on between senior brother Feng Ming and I? Don't worry, he's my grand disciple. I can't do it. We're not in the same generation. Di Biming's face looked better. He snorted and did not pursue the matter anymore. Prince Charming, have you found the information about the grass in my dantian? Yun Chujio asked expectantly. Di Biming frowned. Not at the moment. For now, you have to focus on your cultivation. Maybe after your cultivation increases, you can find out more about it. Yun Chujio could not help but feel a little disappointed. She sighed lightly. Di Biming turned around and grabbed Yun Chujio's hand. Black thing, don't worry. I won't let you die. Yun Chujio felt her heart beating rapidly. She pulled her hand back in panic. Yes, yes. Thank you, Prince Charming. I won't die. I'm a scourge. I can live for 10,000 years. Chapter 180. So heartless. When Di Biming saw that Yun Chujio had withdrawn her hand, he felt a little empty in his heart. He withdrew his hand in embarrassment and turned his back to Yun Chujio without saying a word. Yun Chujio's little heart pounded for a while. She muttered a few words in her heart. Lust was emptiness, emptiness was lust. Then she fell asleep without a care in the world. Hearing Yun Chujio's steady breathing, Di Biming turned around and looked at Yun Chujio angrily. He scolded her in a low voice. What a heartless person. Although he said that, he reached out and pulled Yun Chujio over. Then he closed his eyes and fell asleep. Ever since the shift started, everyone was very conscious of it. Therefore, Elder Huang did not ring the bell every morning and Yun Chujio got to sleep very soundly. It was not until the sun rose high that Yun Chujio opened her eyes in a daze. She saw Di Biming staring at her, seemingly smiling. Could it be that she was drooling? Yun Chujio quickly wiped her chin with her hand. When she realized that there was nothing, she smiled brightly. Good morning, Prince Charming. When Di Biming saw Yun Chujio's bright smile, he felt as if a flower was blooming in his heart. He said gently, Good morning, black thing. Yun Chujio looked at Di Biming's eyes that were as bright as the stars. For some reason her face turned red. She scrambled out of bed and said, Well, I'm going to the kitchen to borrow some breakfast. Yun Chujio was about to run out when Di Biming laughed out loud. Black thing, are you going out without your coat? Yun Chujio laughed out loud and quickly put on her coat. Then she hopped out of the house. When she walked outside, Yun Chujio used her hand to pat her slightly warm face. Gigolo, your looks really bring disaster to the country and the people. Even though I have a heart of stone, I'm a little lustful. Yun Chujio washed up briefly and then hopped into the big kitchen. Everyone had already finished their breakfast and was preparing lunch. Yun Chujio strolled around and inadvertently borrowed quite a lot of food. Everyone was very busy and there were a few pots of vegetables missing. Although they shouted a few words, no one took it seriously. Yun Chujio returned to the courtyard with satisfaction. When the rolling pin and Little Black saw that Yun Chujio had returned, they pounced on her. Di Biming walked out of the house and snorted. Instantly, the two foodies went their separate ways as if there was a wolf chasing after them. Yun Chujio curled her lips. These two useless idiots, is there a need to be so afraid? Then the smile on her face blossomed. Prince Charming, are you done washing up? I'll set up breakfast, then you can eat. After having breakfast, Yun Chujio asked, Prince Charming, how many days do you plan to stay this time before you leave? Before Di Biming could say anything, Yun Chujio hurriedly added, Prince Charming, don't misunderstand. I'm not chasing you away, I'm just mentally preparing to accompany you. Di Biming's face that had just sunk suddenly turned bright. It could be as short as 3 days or as long as 5 days. I still have things to deal with. Yun Chujio nodded. Then she took out a small kitchen knife from her storage ring and was about to cut her arm. Di Biming was shocked and snatched the small kitchen knife away. What are you doing? Yun Chujio was stunned. Bleeding? Didn't you have to use my blood to get rid of the cold? Di Biming saw a shallow wound on Yun Chujio's arm. It was cut by Yun Chujio when she saved him previously. His heart ached. There's no need to cut such a big wound even if you want to bleed. Give me your hand. Chapter 181. The miserable little black Yun Chujio was stunned and handed her left hand to Di Biming. Di Biming took out a silver needle from his storage ring and pricked Yun Chujio's index finger. Immediately bright red blood flowed out. Di Biming felt a slight pain in his heart, but he still took out a porcelain bottle and let Yun Chujio drip the blood into it. Enfeng was watching from the side. His venerable face was filled with heartache, as if it was not Miss Jio's finger that was hurting but his heart. Yun Chujio raised her head and saw the pained and guilty look in Di Biming's eyes. Her little heart pounded non-stop. Although the two of them did not speak, their faces were flushed red as if there were pink bubbles floating in them. At that moment Enfeng coughed dryly. Venerable Sir, Miss Jio, someone is coming here. Di Biming glared at Enfeng. The miserable Enfeng wanted to cry but he had no tears. Venerable Sir, he did not want to disturb your good fortune, but someone really was coming. Enfeng felt that their Majesty's gaze was as if he wanted to cut him into 1,000 pieces. Oh God, he felt that his future was even more bleak. Since he was assigned to her, His Majesty had vented his anger on him countless times. He had been slapped countless times. He was also very aggrieved, was he not? Enfeng lit a candle in his heart for the person on their way over. You're so unlucky. And it's the type of bad luck that was tragic too. Damn it. If it wasn't for you, would he be able to vent his anger on his own? Junior sister little Jio. Junior sister little Jio. Before Feng Ming arrived, his voice had already sounded from afar enthusiastically. Yun Chujio felt a chill by her side. She saw Di Biming blurt out a few words from between his teeth. Junior sister little Jio? Grand disciple? Yun Chujio gritted her teeth. It's just a form of address. Quickly hide. Di Biming looked deeply at Yun Chujio, then flung his sleeves and walked into the house angrily. Yun Chujio felt a little guilty for some reason. What the hell? She did not do anything to let the gigolo down, so how could she have felt guilty? Senior brother Feng Ming, you came at a bad time. You're just ramming yourself into a knife. And Feng and Anin had naturally gone into hiding. And Feng also removed the enchantment. Senior brother Feng Ming, what's the matter? Yun Chujio welcomed him to the door of the courtyard. She thought to herself that it was better to send him away as soon as possible. Otherwise the gigolo might go crazy again. Feng Ming did not know that there were so many twists and turns. He smiled elegantly and said, Junior sister little Jio, do you not welcome me or something? Why can't I come find you? After saying that, Feng Ming swaggered into the courtyard. Yun Chujio's heart sank. Senior brother Feng Ming, you're courting death. It's fine if you're courting death, but why do you have to drag me along? This guy quickly added, Senior brother Feng Ming, do you want to remind me again about the rolling pin? I've already done as you told me. Tell the sect leader to rest assured. Junior sister little Jio, did you not sleep well last night? Hasn't the matter of the rolling pin already passed? What's there to be worried about? You've only just finished your breakfast? Why are there 2 sets of bowls and chopsticks? Feng Ming sat on the stone bench and asked in puzzlement. The other one is Little Black's. It's meaningless for me to eat alone, so I let it eat with me. Yun Chujio was quick-witted. The 1,000-year-old scapegoat Little Black was once again the scapegoat. Feng Ming smiled. Junior sister little Jio, you're lying to me. Yun Chujio pouted. Why would I lie to you? Little Black is quite smart, but no matter how smart it is, it won't use chopsticks, right? Feng Ming pointed at the chopsticks at the side. Chapter 182. The shameless Yun Chujio Little Black was so angry that its feathers were about to explode. Master, no one can trick as well as you. It had to act like it knew how to use chopsticks. Could it even do that? Yun Chujio quickly smoothed her feathers and said in her mind, Little Black, as long as you do well, he'll give you an extra meal for dinner. Little Black reluctantly flew to the top of the stone table and used its 2 claws to grab a chopstick. With great difficulty, it picked up a salted vegetable and placed it into the bowl. Feng Ming cried out in surprise. Junior sister Little Jiu, this Little Black is really amazing. He can actually use chopsticks. Yun Chujiu chuckled, that's right. Why don't you take a look at who raised him? Junior sister Little Jiu, didn't you say a few days ago that you wanted me to help you inquire about the price of the alchemy furnace? I've helped you ask. The cheapest one is at least 1,000 low-grade spirit stones. What? So expensive? That is simply daylight robbery. Yun Chujiu was so angry that she kept snorting. Junior sister Little Jiu, if you don't want to buy it, you can also go to the alchemy room to rent the alchemy room to use. It only costs 5 low-grade spirit stones a day. Moreover, the alchemy room has earth fire, so you don't have to spend on fire stones. 5 spirit stones is also a lot. I am really poor now. Yun Chujiu sighed. Junior sister Little Jiu, let me say something. Don't be unhappy. You don't have any spirit energy at all. How can you refine pills? Isn't it a waste for you to buy an alchemy furnace? Feng Ming said disapprovingly. I'll have spirit energy sooner or later. I'll prepare for it first. Yun Chujiu laughed and did not explain anymore. Junior sister Little Jiu, the spirit beast garden has recently hatched a lot of small spirit beasts. Many female disciples have gone to see them. I'll bring you there to see them someday. Feng Ming felt that he had touched Yun Chujiu's sore spot, so he changed the topic. Really? That's great. I'll definitely go there another day. Yun Chujiu said happily. In fact, she was not really interested. She was just giving Feng Ming a way out. The two of them chatted for a while more and then Feng Ming left. After Yun Chujiu sent Feng Ming off, she hopped into the courtyard and saw Di Baiming staring at her with a gloomy face. To describe it in Yun Chujiu's words, it was like staring at a dead fish with a donkey's face. He was having a fit. This grand disciple of yours is quite filial. He helped you inquire about the alchemy furnace and wants to bring you to see the little spirit beasts. Di Baiming's words were so sour that even the stupid rolling pin could hear it. Yun Chujiu bared her little white teeth. Prince Charming, there's nothing I can do about it. In the Spirit Radiance sect, other than Senior Brother Bird, I don't know anyone else. It's just an alchemy furnace. An go back and bring the Heaven and Earth Universal Furnace from the storeroom for Black Thing. Di Baiming snorted coldly. And was stunned. He thought to himself, the old lord had specifically instructed that the furnace could not be given away so easily. How could the lord give it to the tan girl so easily? However, an did not dare to question Di Baiming's decision. He agreed and turned around to leave. Yun Chujiu's eyes lit up. My Prince Charming, you're so rich. Please give me some more spiritual stones. I'm so poor. Di Baiming obviously enjoyed Yun Chujiu's appearance. He took out a bunch of shiny spiritual stones from his storage ring. Yun Chujiu was stunned. My Prince Charming, why are your spiritual stones different from Fourth Brother's? Stupid. These are all high-grade spirit stones. Of course they're different from your lower-grade spirit stones. Don't you want them? Di Baiming rolled his eyes arrogantly. Yun Chujiu was afraid that Di Baiming would go back on his words, so she quickly put the spirit stones into her storage ring and said shamelessly, yes. Yes, of course I want them. However, it's not convenient to spend these high-grade spirit stones. Can you give me some lower-grade spirit stones? Chapter 183. Heaven and Earth Universal Furnace. I don't have those cheap things. Enfeng, do you have them? Di Baiming looked at Enfeng, who was in the corner. Enfeng ran over and poured out a pile of low-grade spirit stones from his storage ring. Yun Chujiu's eyelashes were so happy that they were blooming. She put them all into her storage ring. Seeing that Yun Chujiu was happy, Di Baiming said to Enfeng, I'll give you an extra month's salary for this month. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, Miss Jiu. Enfeng happily returned to his post. He was so happy that he could not help it. If this continued, my wife would soon have enough money. At that moment, Yun Chujiu looked at Di Baiming as if he was a golden ingot. No matter how she looked at him, it was pleasing to her eyes. Dead fish eyes? No, this was obviously a dazzling night pearl. Donkey face? No, this was a shining spirit stone. Prince Charming, is your shoulder sore? Let me massage it for you. Prince Charming, is your leg sore? Let me massage it for you. Prince Charming, are you thirsty? I'll pour you a cup of tea. Prince Charming, are you hungry? I'll go get lunch. Prince Charming, are you sleepy? I'll help you make the bed. Biming's eyes flashed and his heart moved as if he had found the door to a new world. The black thing was not only greedy for food but also for money. A few spirit stones could make her so eager to please me. Fortunately, I have nothing else but spirit stones. I'll just give her less just now. The flow of water will last forever. The next morning an Een returned. Your Majesty. An Een handed Biming an ancient black alchemy furnace. Biming handed it to Chujio. Black thing, drop some blood to refine it. It's yours. Chujio's eyes almost morphed into heart shapes. This alchemy furnace was obviously very valuable. The patterns on it were simple and gorgeous. Chujio quickly dropped a drop of blood on it and began to refine it. After refining it, she felt that in her sea of consciousness, other than the little black in the rolling pin, there was another stream of divine sense. However, she was still muddle-headed and was like a baby who could not speak. Does this heaven and earth universe furnace have a weapon spirit? Chujio muttered to herself curiously. Miss Jo, I've never heard of anyone's alchemy furnace having a weapon spirit. This alchemy furnace is different from weapons. It interacts with plants and trees all day long. Moreover, it is baked by the alchemy fire. It is impossible for it to produce a weapon spirit. And Feng saw that Biming was in a good mood, so he dared to interrupt. And Feng is right. Whether it's the fire refining stone or the earth fire, they both have the burning effect. Therefore, the alchemy furnace is unable to produce a weapon spirit. Biming said. Oh. But why do I feel that there's a muddle-headed spiritual sense in my sea of consciousness? It seems like a little baby. I must made a mistake. Chujio frowned and said in puzzlement. Biming and the other two did not take it to heart. Chujio must have made a mistake. If the alchemy furnace could produce a weapon spirit, how great would that be? Then would the alchemy furnace not be able to concoct pills by itself? Chujio put the alchemy furnace into her storage ring and hopped around happily in the yard. Prince Charming, you gave me so many things. I'll give you something too. Biming raised his eyebrows. Oh. You're not giving me another tea egg, are you? Chujio laughed dryly. No, I have a unique skill that I want to show you. However, you have to cooperate with me. Biming smiled faintly. How do you need me to cooperate? Chujio was dazzled by Biming's smile. She thought to herself, what a monster. Why is he so handsome? Chapter 184. Painting. You just need to sit down. I'll help you paint a picture. I'm sure you'll like it, Chujio said with a smile. Paint a picture? With your dog-like handwriting you want to paint? Biming raised his eyebrows. It was obvious that he did not have confidence in Chujio. That's because the brush is too soft. I'm not used to it. Just watch. Chujio did not say anything and started getting busy. And Feng helped Chujio burn a few charcoal sticks. Then she made a simple easel and started to draw. Biming did not have much hope at all. He took out a rattan chair from his storage ring and sat on it. He got impatient and took out a book to read. Chujio swallowed her saliva as she drew. She did not usually pay much attention to his details. Looking at him then, he looked delicious. 2 hours later, Chujio said proudly, success. Prince Charming, take a look. How is my drawing? Biming felt that Chujio's drawing must be very ugly. He casually took the drawing that Chujio handed over and glanced at it. Then he was stunned. And Feng and Een also came over curiously. After looking at it, they were also stunned. Oh my god. Isn't this too lifelike? Other than the lack of color, it looks exactly like the one she drew. And Feng said in surprise. Not bad. Especially the aura of the Supreme that you portrayed in the picture. Miss Ju, you're really amazing. And Een also praised her. Chujio was very proud. Prince Charming, how is it? I didn't lie to you, right? This gift isn't bad, right? Biming put the painting into his storage ring and curled his lips. It's okay. It's better than your handwriting. Chujio gritted her teeth. This Tsundra. Can't you say something nice to praise me? Yun Chujio looked at Di Biming's annoying face and said with a smirk, "My Prince Charming, I'm actually not good at this kind of painting." "Oh. What kind of painting are you good at?" Di Biming asked curiously. "Hehe, I'm good at drawing pottery and bodies. Why don't you take off your clothes and I'll draw it for you?" Yun Chujio said with a smile. And Feng and an Yin immediately hid in a corner. "Oh my god. Miss Jo is too bold. She actually flirted with our lord in front of us." Di Biming was stunned for a moment, then he gritted his teeth and asked, "Black thing? What nonsense are you talking about? What kind of bullshit are you good at drawing? Who did you learn it from? Who have you drawn before?" Di Biming was furious when he thought that black thing had actually seen other men before. Yun Chujio felt much better when she saw that Di Biming was angry. She chuckled. "I just haven't drawn them before, that's why I want to try. Prince Charming, your figure is so hot, just let me draw it. Besides, it's not like you'll lose a limb from letting me see it." "Humph. You haven't seen my body before, how would you know that my figure is good?" Di Biming was confused by Yun Chujio's anger, so he replied casually. "Of course I know. Didn't I see it before? I even touched it a few times." Yun Chujio said lecherously. You don't know shame." Di Biming was so angry that he flung his sleeves and went back to his room. However, no matter how he looked at it, it seemed like he was about to run away. And Feng gave Yun Chujio a thumbs up and thought to himself, "Miss Jo is too valiant." Yun Chujio whistled proudly. I'm the best at dealing with such a tsundere. There's only one secret to it, and that's to be shameless." Chapter 185. The loser sleeps on the ground. Yun Chujio knew that she would be reprimanded if she entered the house, so she did not enter the house. Instead, she sat on the rattan chair that Di Biming had just sat on and basked in the sun happily. Yun Chujio basked in the sun for a while and felt a little bored. Her eyes lit up and she waved at Enfeng. "Did you bring the game of Go?" Enfeng was amused. "Miss Jo, your subordinate really does have a Go game here. Do you want to play with your superior?" Yun Chujio curled her lips. "Who wants to play with him? I'll play with you. Come, I'll teach you a new game." "What new game?" Enfeng took out a chessboard and chess pieces. 5 pieces. When Yun Chujio was in the modern world, she had carefully studied 5 pieces and she had never had a rival since. Yun Chujio babbled about the rules and Enfeng smiled. "Miss Jo, this game is quite simple. Then let's play a few rounds. How about 10 low-grade spirit stones per game? The first 3 games don't count. I'll let you familiarize yourself with the rules first," Yun Chujio said with a smile. Enfeng felt that this so-called 5-piece chess game was too simple, so he naturally agreed without hesitation. Enfeng won 2 out of 3 games, so his confidence increased. The miserable Enfeng did not know that this was a bait set by Yun Chujio, so she started the official game excitedly. As a result, Enfeng was in a mess. He wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Although there were only 10 spirit stones in a match, the speed was too fast. Each match would not last more than 15 rounds and Enfeng would definitely lose. "And Ian, come and play with Miss Jo for a while. We'll go to the bathroom." Enfeng could visualize his wife about to die, so he quickly dragged an Ian into the water. And Ian was slightly better than Enfeng. If he lost a few rounds, he could win 1 round. Enfeng looked around and came up with an idea. He turned around and went into the house. "Your Majesty, the 9th Miss is playing some 5-piece chess and won most of the rounds, making an Ian and my victory redundant. Now only you can win the 9th Miss." Di Biming had been itching to go out for a long time, but he did not have any reason to. Hearing Enfeng's words, he raised his eyebrows. That's just a small problem. I'll go deal with her." Di Biming casually threw a few high-grade spirit stones to Enfeng and said, "It's for you." Enfeng chuckled and said, "Thank you, Your Excellency." Di Biming and Enfeng walked out of the room and saw Yun Chujio showing off. "How is it? You have no chance this time. Hurry up and bring me the spirit stones." Di Biming snorted coldly and said, "And Ian, stand down. I'll play with the black thing." Yun Chujio was amused. "Prince Charming, let's play. The stakes are higher. Whoever loses will sleep on the ground tonight." "Do you dare to play?" "Why not? It's just that the ground is wet. I'm afraid you'll have to lay a few more layers of blankets." The one who loses will definitely be you. Can't you see that I've won an Feng and an Een to the point that they're about to cry? Yun Chujio said unwillingly. Di Baiming raised his eyebrows. You're the one who's going to cry this time? Yun Chujio curled her lips. We have 6 out of 10 rounds. Let's play 3 rounds first. No need, let's just start. Yun Chujio thought to herself, what a pretentious wolf. Tonight I can monopolize the entire bed. Although I can't let the gigolo kneel and sing conquer, I get to sleep on the bed while he sleeps on the floor. Isn't it beautiful just thinking about it? Tell me the rules first. Di Baiming said lightly after he sat down. Yun Chujio was even happier. TSK. He did not even know the rules and still did not want to run through it first. Was he not just a fat lamb waiting to be slaughtered? Yun Chujio explained the rules once and the two of them began to play chess. The first game Yun Chujio won. The second game Yun Chujio won. The third game Yun Chujio won. The fourth game Yun Chujio won. Haha. My Prince Charming. I'm so sorry. Actually, I didn't want to win all of them, but... You played really badly. Yun Chujio laughed so hard that she could not close her mouth. Chapter 186. Sleepwalking in Feng and an Een, who were standing at the side, broke out in a cold sweat on behalf of their revered lord. Could it be that their revered lord would really sleep on the ground that night? It was really too embarrassing. And Feng covered his storage ring and thought to himself, could it be that the revered lord would be so angry that he would ask for the spirit stones back? The 5th round began. Yun Chujio was in an extremely good mood. The sky was blue, the clouds were white, and even the gigolo was pleasing to the eye. Oh. For in a row? Yun Chujio's wandering mind finally noticed that Di Baiming had already played 4 pieces in a row, so she was definitely losing that round. Who doesn't eat dumplings during the new year? I'll let you win 1 game. Yun Chujio muttered, refusing to lose to anyone. The 6th round began. Although Yun Chujio was not so smug, she did not take Di Baiming seriously. She hummed a little tune at the side. What? Another losing round? I'll let you eat another round of dumplings. Yun Chujio said angrily. The 7th round began. Yun Chujio did not dare to lower her guard this time. The two of them played for a full hour and Yun Chujio lost again. Even if you win, it's only 4-3. I deliberately let you win because I was afraid that you would lose too horribly. Let me tell you, I'm serious this time. Following that, Di Baiming won 2 rounds in a row. Yun Chujio was anxious. Prince Charming, are you lying to me? Have you played before? Did you lose the previous 4 rounds on purpose? The corner of Di Baiming's mouth curled up. What do you think? Yun Chujio slammed the table angrily. Don't be arrogant. There's still 1 more round. As long as I win, we'll be tied. Di Baiming glanced at her and did not say anything. However, his gaze was filled with contempt. Yun Chujio was exceptionally serious in the 10th round. He calculated every step carefully before moving. However, she still lost. 6-4. Black thing, I won. You can borrow the quilt now. I have a few quilts in my storage ring. Do you need me to lend them to you? Yun Chujio stomped her feet angrily. Lend what? Why are you so stingy? Can't you just give them to me? Di Baiming was in a good mood and did not argue with her. Alright, I'll give them to you. Anyway, I'm afraid you'll have to sleep on the ground for the next few days. Let's play again tomorrow. The one who loses will definitely be you. Yun Chujio really could not understand how she lost. She clearly won very easily at the beginning. She must have been careless. No matter what, she had to get her revenge the next day. In the evening, Yun Chujio spread a few thick blankets on the ground and lay on them pitifully. Although her heart was sour, she pretended to be happy. Wow. This is soft. Much more comfortable than the bed. Di Baiming smiled faintly. Is that so? However, I feel that this feeling of looking down on your head is better. Yun Chujio glared at him angrily. She cursed in her heart, looking down on my head. Gigolo. Shameless. Soon Yun Chujio fell asleep. Di Baiming turned over a few times, then sighed. He got off the bed and carried Yun Chujio to the side of the bed. I'm not feeling sorry for the black thing. I just feel that it's a little cold to sleep alone. Yes, it's just a little cold. The next day, Yun Chujio opened her eyes and found herself on the bed. In a daze, she asked, Huh? That's strange. Why am I on the bed? Di Biming curled the corners of his lips. Because you're sleepwalking. Yun Chujie was speechless. After breakfast, an Een reported to Di Biming, Your Holiness, we've discovered the whereabouts of that person. He has also come to the Qingxian continent. Di Biming raised his eyebrows. Oh? News travels fast. Black thing, he'll be away for a few days and will come back to see you after I've settled my matters. Yun Chujie wished that Di Biming would leave as soon as possible. That way she would have time to go out and show off. However, after the lesson from last time, this fellow had learned his lesson. His face was full of reluctance and he almost cried. Prince Charming, although I can't bear to part with you, your matter is more important. You should leave. Chapter 187. Who was the one singing? Di Biming was very satisfied with Yun Chujie's reluctance to part with him, but his expression was cold. After I leave, stay away from that bird. Yun Chujie straightened her small body. Prince Charming, don't worry. I'll cultivate well and never get involved with that person. Stay away from those coquettish bitches. Di Biming nodded and left with an Een and an Feng. Of course, an Feng secretly returned to protect Yun Chujie. As soon as Di Biming left, Yun Chujie started to show off. Huh. The gigolo is finally gone. Let's go. Master will take you out to play. I'm a rich woman now. Yun Chujie had a rolling pin on her waist and little black on her shoulder. She swaggered out of the yard. Where should I go? Yun Chujie thought about it and decided to go to the library. I haven't been there even once. It'll be a good time to read some alchemy books. The reason why Yun Chujie had the idea of alchemy was that there had not been a single drop of rain recently, so there was naturally no lightning that could be absorbed. Yun Chujie thought hard for a few days and decided to learn alchemy. With the pill she could feed it to the grass in her dantian. This way the grass could release the power of lightning and she could cultivate at any time. Although there was a risk in doing this, which was that the grass in her dantian might grow bigger and bigger. If she did not become stronger, she would be killed by it sooner or later. She might as well give it her all. As for whether she could learn it or not, it was not in her consideration. This girl had this kind of mysterious confidence. The Spirit Radiance Sect's library was located halfway up the Zhang Peak. After 2 hours, Yun Chujie happily hopped to the library on the Zhang Peak. The 2 outer sect disciples guarding the library were indignant when they saw Yun Chujie hopping over. However, the sect leader had given the order and had no choice but to let Yun Chujie enter. However, they stopped Little Black. Spiritual pets are either kept in the spiritual beast pouch or not allowed to be brought in, one of the tall servants said impatiently. Naturally, Yun Chujie did not have a spiritual beast pouch. Moreover, her storage ring could not hold any living things, so she could only instruct Little Black to wait for her on the tree next to the library. Little Black nodded and flew to a tree next to the library. Yun Chujie entered the library and was immediately shocked by the scene inside. The inside was about 10 mu of land. There were many bookshelves and there were plenty of jade slips and paper books on them. Most of the people reading inside were servants. When they saw Yun Chujie enter, they whispered a few words and did not bother about her thereafter. Yun Chujie went to the alchemy library and began to read. Yun Chujie read very quickly, one book after another. In the end, she simply sat on the ground and read. After reading for a while, she heard the angry voice of the Little Black in her mind. Master. They bullied me. I want to burn them to death with a fireball. Yun Chujie was shocked. She quickly put down the book in her hand and rushed out. When Yun Chujie exited the library and saw the scene in front of her, she was so angry that she could explode. She saw 4 male outer sect disciples throwing pebbles at the Little Black bird, laughing as they did so. You unlucky fire-breathing crow, get lost. That's right. You're just like your master. You're so black, you've really disgraced our Spirit Radiance sect. Get lost. If you don't get lost, I'll beat you down and roast you. There were 2 pretty women standing beside these male disciples. When they saw the Little Black bird being forced to move back and forth on the branches, the 2 of them happily giggled. Pop, pop, pop. Yun Chujie suddenly jumped forward and slapped each of the 4 male disciples. The 4 male disciples were looking up at the Little Black on the tree. Who would have thought that someone would rush over to hit them? They were slapped by Yun Chujie. Little Black saw Yun Chujie had come out and landed on Yun Chujie's shoulder. It was so angry that it cried out. "WWW Master. I'm so angry. I'm so angry. If you didn't tell me not to expose myself, I would have burned them to ashes." Yun Chujio comforted Little Black's wings and then looked at the two women. "Yun Chushan by Moru, what are you doing?" Chapter 188. You can all go together. Yun Chushan did not expect Yun Chujio to come out so quickly. Her face was a bit embarrassed and she did not say anything. Bai Moru sneered. "Who was talking so loudly? Did you not know? This is the library, not the spirit pet garden. Your fire-breathing crow interfered with everyone's reading. Isn't it expected for us to chase it away? On the contrary, you blatantly beat up your fellow disciples. Yun Chujio, you're dead meat." "Oh. It's really funny. My spiritual pet was perfectly fine on the tree. How was it disturbing others' reading? On the contrary, these people were screaming like cats in heat. It affected everyone. That's why I helped everyone to teach them a lesson." Yun Chujio crossed her arms and ridiculed them without a care. "You're courting death." One of the male disciples saw that Yun Chujio had spoken really unpleasantly and proceeded to slap her. Yun Chujio lightly dodged the slap. Then she jumped to the side of the two guarding disciples. "Senior brother, they are making a ruckus here. Are you going to stop them?" The two disciples did not want to stop them, but Yun Chujio asked, "No noise outside the library. If you have a dispute, go and settle it somewhere else." "Yun Chujio, I don't believe that you will stay in the library forever. Let's go." Bai Moru glared at Yun Chujio and left. Yun Chushan was Bai Moru's follower, so she naturally followed. As for the four male disciples, they either had feelings for Bai Moru or Yun Chushan, so they naturally followed. However, before they left, the four male disciples looked at Yun Chujio maliciously. It was obvious that they had bad intentions. Yun Chujio did not care about the threats from these scumbags at all. She comforted the little black bird for a while before returning to the library. Little Black was still in the library, so he did not dare to look at Yun Chujio anymore. As he walked, he thought to himself, looks like the next time the gigolo returns, I'll have to ask him for a spirit beast pouch. Yun Chujio was engrossed in her reading. It was not until the sky gradually darkened and the little black bird complained that it was hungry that Yun Chujio reluctantly came out of the library. Little Black did not want to see Yun Chujio anymore. It was a cloudy day and the rare little northern wind blew. Fortunately, Yun Chujio was wearing Di Baiming's clothes, so she did not feel cold. "Master, do you think those dregs will stop us on the way?" Little Black blinked its small eyes and asked. "Of course. Recently I've been bullied by the gigolos, so I can vent my anger on them. In a while you can do this." Yun Chujio's lips curled up and evil thoughts appeared again. Little Black's green bean eyes gleamed, laughing evilly. As expected, Yun Chujio had just walked out not too far when she saw Bai Moru and the rest waiting. "Yun Chujio, you're finally willing to come out? Today we'll settle scores." Bai Moru's eyes seemed to be filled with poison as she stared fiercely at Yun Chujio. "Bai Moru, you can't be heartless. If I hadn't kicked you a few dozen times back then, would you still be alive and kicking?" "Shut up. Senior Luofeng, help me teach her a lesson." Bai Moru looked at a male disciple beside her. It was the one who wanted to beat Yun Chujio up during the day. "Yun Chujio, I'm at level 5 spirit enhancement and you're trash without any spirit energy. If you know what's good for you, just kneel and beg for mercy. Maybe Junior Moru will be kind enough to spare you," Luofeng said arrogantly. "Is a level 5 spirit disciple really that great? You're so powerful, how come you're only an outer disciple? Forget it, you guys come at me together. Otherwise people will think I'm bullying you." Yun Chujio tilted her head, her face filled with disdain. Chapter 189. Faster. Luofeng was so angry he gritted his teeth. "Yun Chujio, aren't you afraid of over-exaggerating? Take this." Luofeng rushed fiercely toward Yun Chujio. Who would have thought that he would crash heavily onto the ground? Due to the huge impact, the crash was extremely violent, causing him to see stars. "Tisk, even if you know you're wrong, you don't have to give me such a huge gift. I told you, you guys are too weak. Come. All of you attack at the same time," Yun Chujio said proudly. The other 3 male disciples could not help but secretly look down on Luofeng. What a shame. He actually fell down himself. Didn't he watch where he was going? 3 seniors, all of you attacked together. This Yunchujio has always been crafty. We need to end this quickly. It won't be good if others see us. Baimoru saw the dark clouds gathering above, urging Wu Yun. The 3 male disciples looked at each other, grinning ferociously as they rushed toward Yunchujio. Yunchujio smiled coldly at them. Look at the hidden weapons. A big paper bag was thrown at the male disciple in front. The male disciple used his sword to block and the contents of the bag immediately flew out. Cough cough cough. My eyes. I'm choking. What the hell was that? Despicable. He actually used poison. Yunchujio deliberately found the upper hand so even Yunchushan and Baimoru who were at the back could not hide. They choked until their snot and tears flowed out. Yunchujio brought Little Black and walked around them. Hey. Remember to bring your brains if you find trouble in the future. What a bunch of useless trash. Master, why do you still have chili noodles in your storage ring? The rolling pin had thought that it could show off his skills, but it did not expect its master to settle things with a bag of chili noodles. It was really amazing. Little Flame, don't underestimate this chili noodle. When I passed the entrance test, it was indispensable. The kitchen has a lot of this thing and I still have 2 big bags in my storage ring. Yunchujio said proudly. Master, then let's prepare more chili noodles in the future. The rolling pin felt that he had the right owner. This thing can be used to catch people off guard, but it will be very difficult to succeed next time. When I learn how to refine pills, it'll definitely make some powerful poisons. Yunchujio's eyes shone as if she had already seen the beautiful scene of herself using poisons to show off her skills. Rumble. The sound of thunder suddenly sounded in the sky. Yunchujio looked up and saw that the dark clouds in the sky were gathering. She had an ominous premonition in her heart. Fuck. She felt that her spiritual power had increased. Was she going to advance to the next level? It was definitely too late for her to rush back to her own courtyard. She had to find a place where there was no one around. Otherwise she would easily injure others. Yunchujio saw that she was not far from Zhang Peak's back mountain, so she decided to jog all the way there. Yunchujio ran into the forest not far from the back mountain, and a purple lightning bolt came down from the sky. This bolt of lightning was obviously a novice. When it saw the 2 targets, Little Black and Yunchujio, it was a little confused. Which one should it strike? Yunchujio shouted impatiently, if you want to strike, then do it quickly. I'm waiting to go back to sleep. What are you waiting for? The bolt of lightning was in a fit of anger. It did not hesitate and directly struck Yunchujio. The rolling pin wanted to block it for Yunchujio, but she threw it to the side. Watch carefully. This thing is good for me. The rolling pin was a little stunned and it just stood there and watched. The purple lightning struck Yunchujio, but Yunchujio was not only fine, she even said with disdain, too weak. Too weak. It's not enough to fill the gaps between your teeth. Chapter 190. Strike more vivaciously. Wu Yun was clearly caught off guard and quickly struck another bolt of lightning. Yunchujio easily caught the bolt of lightning. She hugged her shoulders and curled her lips. It's too thin. The quality of your presence this time isn't that great. Probably caused by the defective lightning strikes? Wu Yun was furious and struck down 3 bolts of lightning at the same time. Little Black shouted, Master, give me one of them. I haven't replenished in a long time. Yunchujio curled her lips. Fight for it yourself. These lightning bolts are all one-track minded. They can't even turn a corner. Little Black happily flew toward one of the lightning bolts and swallowed it. Wu Yun in the sky was trembling with anger. Where did these 2 weirdos come from? When they were out on a mission, they had never heard of such a weirdo in the Qingxian continent. Wu Yun originally wanted to save some heavenly lightning to strike down a mission target. In a fit of anger, he simply struck down dozens of lightning bolts. Yunchujio was so happy that her eyes narrowed. She was worried that she did not have the power of lightning. Little Black snatched a few heavenly lightning bolts and swallowed them. The rest were all absorbed by Yunchujio. To be exact, most of them were absorbed by the grass in Yunchujio's dantian. Wu Yun saw that he had struck 13 times, but not only did he not kill the 2 of them, they were even more lively. He was so angry that he flew away. Yunchujio curled her lips. This time it was really too weak. Even my clothes weren't damaged. Master, you're right. Compared to the entrance test, this is vastly different. The rolling pin was stunned. It seemed to understand why little Hua Hua chose Yun Chujio as her personal disciple. She was too freakish. Although the thunder root spirit was relatively rare, Yun Chujio's condition could not be explained with that. Directly devouring the thunder spirit energy was unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. Plus that dark bird. No wonder it could spit out a fireball with the power of thunder and lightning. It was also a freak. So it had previously scolded that bird before. If it had known that it was so weird, it would not have provoked it. It was not known if it would be too late to rectify things then. Yun Chujio checked her spiritual power and sure enough, it had risen to the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm. She smiled and waved at the rolling pin. Little flame, let's retreat. Otherwise, I'll be bad if someone comes to check on us later. The rolling pin was very obedient and flew into Yun Chujio's hand. Yun Chujio ran to the edge of the forest and met a few elders who came to check on her. Coincidentally, these elders all knew Yun Chujio's identity as a little ancestor. The elders looked at each other. One of the elders coughed dryly and said, "Why are you here?" Yun Chujio was delighted. This old man was quite polite. He actually needed her. "Hello, elders. I came out of the library and saw a wind-blade rabbit. I chased it into the forest. Unfortunately, it ran too fast and I couldn't catch it." Yun Chujio was very smart. She did not have Master Xuanyuan's support there, so she naturally would not put on airs. "There were several heavenly lightning bolts just now. They didn't hurt you, right?" Seeing that Yun Chujio was tactful, the elder felt a little better. "No, I didn't do anything bad. Those bolts of lightning won't hit me." Yun Chujio straightened her small body and said confidently. Although the rolling pin had already experienced Yun Chujio's nonsense, it was still shocked by her ability to lie through her teeth. "Master, you're too shameless." Chapter 191. Watching the little spiritual beast, the few elders did not know how to respond. They laughed dryly and were about to leave. At that moment, one of the elders saw the rolling pin on Yun Chujio's waist and asked curiously, Is this the rod from that day? Did you notice anything unusual about it?" Yun Chujio held the rolling pin in her hand. "Nothing unusual, but I felt that the rolling pin was a little heavy, so I made it lighter." "You mean it can freely change its weight?" one of the elders exclaimed. "Wasn't it already determined that it was an ordinary mortal weapon?" "Yes, it's crazy. Sometimes it can grow longer and sometimes it can't. It's probably because it lacks spiritual power," Yun Chujio said half-truthfully. Suddenly Yun Chujio staggered and almost fell. Fortunately, she held on to a tree next to her so she did not fall. Yun Chujio smiled and handed the rolling pin over. "Here, take a look." The elders had long wanted to borrow it to take a look, and it was the time to do it. They took the rolling pin and looked at it for a long time. No matter how they looked at it, it did not have any spiritual power at all. It was just an ordinary rod. The elders awkwardly returned the rolling pin to Yun Chujio. After saying a few polite words, they went into the forest to check the surroundings. "Little fellow, want to play tricks on me? I'm the ancestor of deceit." Yun Chujio curled her lips. Only then did she let the little silver dragon, which had hidden between her brows, return to the rod. In the next few days, whenever she had time to rest, Yun Chujio would run to the library. It was unsure if Bai Moru and the others were too choked by the chili noodles or if they were delayed by other matters. In any case, they had not come looking for trouble with Yun Chujio for a few days, so Yun Chujio could not be bothered with them. That morning, Feng Ming arrived with a smile on his face. "Junior sister little Gio, why don't you rest today? Let's go, he'll bring you to see the little spirit beasts." Yun Chujio originally wanted to go to the library, but after thinking for a while she agreed. It was also good to go to the spirit beast garden. In any case, she had not seen many spirit beasts before, so she thought it would be good to broaden her horizons. Feng Ming brought Yun Chujio to the spirit beast garden on the West Peak. Although Feng Ming was not a disciple of the West Peak, he relied on his reputation to travel unimpeded. Yun Chujio could not help but think sourly, "Humph, this world truly revolves around the attractiveness of one's face." She was still young. After a few years she would also be a peerless beauty. Very soon the two of them arrived at the Spirit Beast Garden on the West Peak. The Spirit Beast Garden was located halfway up West Peak. Due to the recent birth of a few small spirit beasts, many female disciples were there to see them. When those female disciples saw Feng Ming, they immediately became shy, and some of the braver ones even came to strike up a conversation. "Senior brother Feng Ming, you're also here to see the spirit beasts?" Feng Ming smiled faintly. "I came with junior sister little Jiao." Feng Ming's words undoubtedly attracted a lot of envious and jealous gazes at Yun Chujiao. If those women's gazes could turn into arrows, Yun Chujiao would have already become a porcupine by then. Yun Chujiao secretly complained in her heart, but a bright and beautiful smile appeared on her face. "Hello, senior sisters. Senior brother Feng Ming is just like my biological brother. He has always taken good care of me. Seeing that I'm not in a good mood recently, he brought me here to look." When the women heard the words, "just like my own brother," they immediately understood the hidden meaning. Their metaphorical arrows suddenly turned to sugar. "Junior sister little Jiao, senior brother Feng Ming is right. You should come out more often. In the future, if you have nothing to do, you can visit us. Junior sister little Jiao, take these small snacks. When you grow up, it'll be more nourishing. Little ninth junior sister, what kind of small spirit beast do you like? Let me introduce them to you." Chapter 192. Fell into the beast nest. Feng Ming rubbed his nose. Junior sister Jiao was really a thief. She actually turned a disadvantage into an advantage with just a few words. It made it seem like she was more popular than him. Yun Chujiao and Feng Ming entered the Spirit Beast Garden under the escort of all the girls. The Spirit Beast Garden on the West Peak was the largest of the 6 peaks. This was because the West Peak had 3 beast tamers while the other peaks had none. In the Qingxian continent, whether it was alchemists, armament masters, array masters, talisman masters, or beast tamers, they were all very rare. Therefore, no matter which one of them had reached level 5 or above, they were all coveted by various sections. 2 of the 3 beast tamers on the West Peak were level 5, and 1 was level 6. They received preferential treatment throughout the entire Spirit Radiance sect. "Junior sister little Jiao, let's go see the baby of the mighty elephant. Don't be fooled by how fierce the adult mighty elephant is. The babies are very cute," one of the female disciples called Su Yun said with a smile. Yun Chujiao remembered that back in the demon beast forest, one had indirectly saved her, hence she immediately agreed. The group arrived at the garden where the mighty elephant was kept. The ones guarding the garden were 2 outer disciples. One of them saw Yun Chujiao and his eyes gleamed fiercely. It was Luo Feng. Yun Chujiao had also noticed Luo Feng, hence she became even more careful. The mighty elephant had a ferocious temperament, hence the people of the Spirit Beast Garden had created a huge pit to raise them. On top of it was a formation to prevent them from escaping. "Little sister Jiao, look. The furry one in front is the baby. Isn't it cute?" Su Yun warmly greeted Yun Chujiao. Yun Chujiao looked in the direction Su Yun was pointing at, and indeed there was a furry little guy standing in the middle of the 5 elephants. The little fellow saw everyone and even playfully shook its long nose. "Even though these mighty elephants have fierce temperaments, it's still all right for us to look from such a distance. Even the disciples who raised them shouldn't get too close to them." Su Yun smiled and said. At that time Luo Feng walked over with a cold expression. "Please make way, it's feeding time." Everyone hurriedly made way. Luo Feng opened a small hole in the formation and took out fresh beast meat from his storage bag and threw it down. The beast scrambled to eat. Just as Yun Chujiao was enjoying the scene, Luo Feng staggered and pushed Yun Chujiao back. Yun Chujiao had been on guard the entire time. As she retreated, Luo Feng's palm hit Su Yun beside her. Su Yun screamed with her body leaning forward, looking like she was about to fall. Yun Chujiao did not have time to think and hurriedly reached out to pull Su Yun. Luo Feng was already blinded by hatred, so he pushed instead, pushing both Yun Chujiao and Su Yun down. All of this happened in a flash, so when everyone reacted, Yun Chujiao and Su Yun had already fallen to the bottom of the pit. Luckily, the 2 of them happened to land on the mighty elephant nest, which was covered with a thick layer of hay, hence they did not get hurt. Su-yun was so scared that her legs went soft as she grabbed Yun Chujia's arm tightly. "A little sister Jio, I'm sorry, I'm the one who dragged you down," Su-yun said guiltily. Yun Chujio sighed and thought to herself, "It's not you who dragged me down. It's clearly me who dragged you down. Senior sister Su, let's talk about this outside. Right now the most important thing is to get out alive." Su-yun said with a sobbing voice, "I'm afraid we won't be able to live. An adult mighty elephant is a spiritual beast of the 8th level, which is equivalent to a human of the 9th level. The two of us together can't even defeat that small one." Chapter 193. Be a good boy and eat candy. Feng Ming was so worried that he went crazy. He punched Luo Feng to the ground. "Are you crazy? You're killing your fellow disciples. It's a capital offense. Hurry up and think of a way to save them." Luo Feng was starting to regret it. He was too blinded by wanting to vent his anger. If someone really died, he would not be able to live. Independent Illinois, go find Manager Gu immediately. Luo Feng scrambled to find Manager Gu, who was one of the 3 beast tamers. Feng Ming's eyes were red from anxiety. He wanted to jump down and save her. Even though it would be useless if he went, he was the one who brought his junior there. He could not just watch her get into trouble, especially since this was little ancestor Yun. However, he did not expect that Luo Feng would have closed the opening before he left. Feng Ming was furious. He cursed and wanted to tear Luo Feng into pieces. However, being anxious was useless and he could only look down helplessly. The 5 mighty elephants saw Yun Chujio and Su-yun, and their eyes gleamed fiercely. None of the beasts were willing to become humans' spiritual pets. After being kept in captivity for so long, they hated humans to the bone. Now that 2 people had fallen in, how could they let them go? Little Black stood on Yun Chujio's shoulder and cried out, "Master, it seems that we can only expose ourselves. Otherwise we'll have to give up our little lives. Wait a little longer. If we have no other choice, we will attack again." Yun Chujio pulled Su-yun behind her and waved at the young elephant. Although it was a cub, it was actually the size of an ordinary horse. The cub was just curious. When it saw the young human in front of it waving at it, it ran over. A few adult elephants felt that Yun Chujio and Su-yun were too weak, so they did not stop it and let the cub play with them. Yun Chujio took out a handful of candy from her storage ring and threw it to the baby elephant. It smelled it in confusion, licked it with its tongue and then ate it. After eating it, it shook its long trunk, obviously finding it very delicious. The baby elephant barked at Yun Chujio a few times, obviously wanting to eat more. Yun Chujio took out a handful of candies from her bosom and threw it to the baby elephant. The baby elephant used its long trunk to roll up the candies and fed it to the 5 adults beside it. Yun Chujio thought to herself, who knew this baby elephant would be so filial? Little Black was about to cry. The situation is so dire. Why are you still thinking about these things? You don't have many candies in your storage ring. Let's see what you'll do when you're done feeding them. Sure enough, when the cub saw that the candies on the ground were gone, it roared at Yun Chujio with dissatisfaction. Yun Chujio had no choice but to throw out another handful of candies. After doing that a few times, the candies in Yun Chujio's storage ring were gone. There were still some buns and things like that in her storage ring, but if she took them out it would expose her storage ring. Yun Chujio, this money grubber, naturally could not bear to part with them. Just as she was about to clash head-on, Su-yun said weakly, "Little sister Jio, I still have some candy here." Yun Chujio took the candy that Su-yun handed over and held on for a while longer. In the end, she even threw out the dry food in Su-yun's storage bag, yet Luo Feng still had not returned. Feng Ming gritted his teeth. Did this guy go on a business trip? "Little sister Jio, you hold on for a while longer. I'll go find Manager Zhu and Manager Zhou." Feng Ming rode his blade and hurriedly went to find the other 2 beast tamers. The mighty elephant cub roared a few times. Seeing that Yun Chujio did not throw anything over, it was instantly enraged. It ran toward Yun Chujio and swung its long nose toward her. Chapter 194. Opportunities are reserved for the prepared beast. The little black bird hurriedly cried out a few times. The cub's front legs went weak and with a thunk it fell to the ground. The shaking cub got up and ran to one of the adult elephant's legs and rubbed against it, obviously feeling a little scared. Master, I can only use this curse once a day. What should we do next? Yun Chujio felt that even if she and Little Black used their true strength, they would not be able to deal with so many powerful level 8 beasts. What should she do? Yun Chujio used her spiritual sense to scan the storage ring and found a handful of golden fur. She remembered that this was the tiger fur of Elder Shao's spiritual pet, the gold-spotted scarlet flame tiger. Yun Chujio was desperate, so she pretended to take out the tiger fur from her bosom. Don't push your luck. I'm hiding something. This is just to show off my power. This is the tiger fur of the gold-spotted scarlet flame tiger. If I dare to pull off the tiger fur, I'm not afraid of you. You have to think about the consequences. If you eat us, you won't be able to recover. Yun Chujio said as she blew the tiger fur forward. When the mighty elephants saw their cubs fall for no reason, they were a little surprised. Now that they saw the gold-spotted scarlet flame tiger's fur, they became even more suspicious. These beasts already had intelligence. Although they could not speak human language, they could still understand it. When Yun Chujio saw that they did not come forward anymore, she felt a little more confident. She straightened her back and said, "Besides, we don't have much meat in total. Even if you eat us, we'll only be enough to fill the gaps between your teeth. Why bother? By then your little lives will be gone. Not to mention this cute little elephant. It just came to this world and you have the heart to take away its life just like that. It hasn't seen the outside world yet and it hasn't found a life partner yet. How can you be so heartless to harm it just because of 2 mouthfuls of meat?" Yun Chujio did not dare to stop and could only talk desperately to stall for time. Impulsiveness is the devil, don't be impulsive. Our meat is not as delicious as those rabbit meat, and am also a waste with no spiritual power. I heard that it was because I was poisoned when I was in my mother's womb. Aren't you afraid of being poisoned by me? You've lived for so many years and that's enough. But if that little elephant is poisoned after eating my meat, I really can't live with my conscience. The few elephants realized that the black girl who spoke was really a good-for-nothing without any spiritual power, so they believed Yun Chujio's words a little more. If her meat was poisoned, it really could not be eaten. Besides, we have a common enemy. The reason why we were pushed down is because we don't like them keeping you demon beasts here. You're free and you belong to the demon beast forest. How can you be kept here as human spiritual pets? We told the truth, so we were hated by them. That disciple who fed you pushed us down to vent his anger. If you really kill us, then it would be the kinsmen who bear the pain and the enemy who rejoices. Su Yun, who was hiding in the back, was completely dumbfounded. Putting aside whether Yun Chujio was brave or not, how did she come up with these excuses? One set after another. To be honest, if I were a mighty elephant, I would have believed it. What she said was really deep and heartfelt, causing the beast to shed tears. As expected, Yun Chujio's words had touched the hearts of the mighty elephants. What they could not bear the most was being imprisoned by others. This made a day felt like a year. My lord's elephants. There is a saying, it is never too late for the demonic beasts to take revenge. If I were you, I would cultivate properly here. There are people waiting on me here and the spiritual energy is still dense. Since I can't get out anyway, I might as well cultivate diligently. Opportunities are reserved for beasts who are prepared, don't you think so? When Feng Ming brought the 2 beast tamers over, he saw Yun Chujio standing there with her small hands behind her back, babbling non-stop. Then the mighty elephants kept nodding their huge heads, seemingly agreeing with Yun Chujio's words. Chapter 195. What the hell happened? Feng Ming was dumbfounded. What was going on? What on earth happened? Before he left, those mighty elephants wanted to eat Junior Sister Jiu. How did they get along with each other in such a short time? How did Junior Sister Jiu do it? That Yun Chujio is also a beast tamer? Manager Zhou was also confused and asked Feng Ming. Feng Ming shook his head. Little ninth junior sister can't cultivate. She doesn't have any spiritual power. That's strange. Even if old Zhu and I used the beast tamer ring to control her, these mighty elephants would be very irritable. Why are they so docile now? Zhou muttered to himself. Before Manager Zhou finished his words, many people came to his side. Greetings, Sect Master. Greetings to all the peak masters and elders. The surrounding people bowed and greeted him. Master Xinyuan frowned and waved his hand. Yun Chujio fell down? Why aren't you saving her? What are you waiting for? No one expected that this matter would alarm the sect master, the peak master, and so many elders. Although disciples were in danger and the higher-ups would pay attention to them, there would not be so many people attending to it, right? Master Xinyuan and the 5 peak masters had actually come. Could it be that Su Yun or Yun Chujio had a background? Did not seem like it. Su Yun was just an ordinary outer sect disciple. What was more, Yun Chujio? He was just a measly servant. It must be because of senior brother Feng Ming. Senior brother Feng Ming must be the true disciple of Middle Peak. It must have been senior brother Feng Ming who invited those people there. Senior brother Feng Ming really treated Yun Chujio very well. Manager Zhou hurriedly came over to explain, reporting to sect master, old Zhu and I also just arrived. We originally wanted to go down and save them, but this situation seems to be a little special. Manager Zhou pointed below. Master Xinyuan and the elders looked in the direction that Manager Zhou pointed. Then everyone was in chaos. What was going on? Did they not say that mighty elephants were extremely ferocious? Why did those behemoths look as docile as puppies in front of Yun Chujio? Yun Chujio also glanced at Master Xinyuan and the others. She cursed in her heart, fuck. My saliva is about to dry and you guys are still not coming down. Isn't it too much to just watch? This is too much. Yun Chujio changed the topic and pointed at the top. She said to the elephants, look up, there are so many experts here. Who would believe that this isn't a trap? The person who fed you wants to use your claws to kill me and then kill you all at the same time. What a vicious heart. Although the elephants did not know the peak master of the sect, they could feel the level of their spiritual power. They believed Yun Chujio's words without a doubt. They were glad that they did not fall for their trick, or else none of them would have survived. Master Xianyuan and the others had high spiritual power. Although Yun Chujio's voice was not loud, they could still hear her clearly. The corners of their eyes twitched, and their hearts felt like thousands of divine beasts whizzing past. Master Xianyuan coughed dryly. Open the formation. Elder Chu, Elder Shao, you two go down and bring Yun Chujio and that disciple up. Manager Zhou and Manager Zhu opened the formation, and Elder Chu and Elder Shao jumped to the bottom of the pit. Those mighty elephants saw that Elder Chu and Elder Shao had profound spiritual power, and there were so many experts above them. They naturally would not provoke them and let them save Yun Chujio and Su Yun. Yun Chujio was still shouting in the air, remember my words. Cultivate well. I will come to see you. The mighty elephants howled a few times in response to Yun Chujio. Chapter 196. The Spirit Radiant sect will be proud of me. Yun Chujio. When Su Yun heard Yun Chujio's words, she was on the verge of breaking down. If you want to come, come yourself. In the future she will never visit again. When she reached the top, Yun Chujio's expression immediately changed. She burst into tears. Sect Master, you have to make a decision for me and senior sister Su Yun. We've been harmed so miserably. If it weren't for senior sister Su Yun and I carrying some candies, we would already be choking on our farts right now. Yun Chujio cried as she pulled on Su Yun's sleeve. Su Yun was scared silly by Yun Chujio's face-changing technique. She was stunned for a moment before crying, I beg Master to help me. The corner of Master Zuanyuan's eyes twitched. What's going on? Yun Chujio used her sleeve to eyes. Master, Senior Su and I were just looking at the little spirit beasts. I didn't expect that disciple called Luo Feng to actually push Senior Su. I subconsciously wanted to pull her back. I didn't expect that crazy Luo Feng to actually push both of us into the beast's nest. Sob, I'm very timid. I was almost scared to death. My little heart is jumping out of my chest. Everyone's faces froze. Yun Chujio, are you really not afraid of being struck by lightning? You're timid? You were almost scared to death? Why didn't we see it? Why do we feel that you're jumping around happily? Just now, who was the one who shouted that she would come again in the future? Master Xinyuan coughed dryly. Elder Shao, the incident happened on the West Peak. You should handle this. Even though Elder Shao did not like Yun Chujio, the evidence was conclusive and there was nothing to be biased about. He immediately asked the disciples present, and sure enough, what they said was identical to Yun Chujio's statement. Elder Shao was about to send someone to capture Luo Feng, when someone came over to report that he wanted to escape the sect, and had already been detained by the disciples guarding the sect. The more Luo Feng thought about it, the more scared he became. The mighty elephant is a level 8 demon beast. By the time I get Elder Gu here, Yun Chujio and the others will already be dead. I might as well take advantage of the fact that this matter hasn't blown up and run away. He originally planned to get out of the sect, but he did not expect the disciples guarding the sect to be so dedicated. When they saw Luo Feng's panicked expression and the fact that he had not even left the sect, they immediately detained him. Elder Shao simply got someone to bring Luo Feng there for a public hearing. Many disciples received the news and rushed over, whispering amongst themselves. Luo Feng saw that Yun Chujio and Su Yun were not dead. He could not help but feel a little lucky. If they were not dead, then he did not have to die. Luo Feng, why did you push Su Yun and Yun Chujio into the beast's nest? What grudge do you have with them? Elder Shao's expression was dark, staring hard at Luo Feng. Luo Feng looked viciously at Yun Chujio. I don't have a personal grudge with Su Yun. I just don't like the fact that trash like Yun Chujio could enter our Spirit Radiance sect. I originally wanted to push Yun Chujio down, I didn't expect to push Su Yun down by mistake. Elder Shao, even though I was wrong, Yun Chujio is still trash. How did she not only enter the Spirit Radiance sect, but also gain access to the library? I'm not convinced. I believe everyone isn't convinced either. Luo Feng's words obviously resonated with some people. Right. How could trash like Yun Chujio be in the same sect as us geniuses? Yun Chujio's eyes deepened. Leader, Elder Shao, can I speak my mind? Master Xinyuan nodded. Sure, go ahead. Yun Chujio straightened her little body and with a serious expression she said, I don't know if there's anyone else who shares the same thoughts as Luo Feng. Yes, I'm quite useless, I admit. However, I'm the same as you guys. I passed 3 rounds of the entrance exam and got in fair and square. Luo Feng, you despise me for being useless? Isn't this just the pot calling the kettle black? The senior Feng Ming and the other geniuses look at you the same way. You're just trash too. What right do you have to look down on me? Besides, the library access was given to me by the head. Do you think the head's IQ is lower than yours? Why would he give me this authority for no reason? Southern Jade Square is the 10,000-year-old foundation of our Spirit Radiance sect. Even though I only found a few small holes, I indirectly saved our Spirit Radiance sect's reputation. Is our reputation not worth the access authority of a library? Lastly, I'll tell you one thing, don't bully the young and poor. I Yun Chujio am trash today, but it doesn't mean that I'll always be trash. One day the Spirit Radiance sect will be proud of me, Yun Chujio. Chapter 197 was full of bad intentions. Perhaps it was because Yun Chujio's incongruous image was too deeply rooted in people's hearts that she suddenly became serious. Everyone was still a little unaccustomed to it. In short, after Yun Chujio finished speaking, everyone was strangely quiet. Yun Chujio touched her nose. Could it be that she was acting too much? Good. Well said. I admire such a young woman who is so motivated. Elder Chu stroked his beard with a face full of praise. I told you this Yun Chujio is promising. Alright, he had long forgotten who was the one who said that Yun Chujio was a small fry. Master Xinyuan nodded. Not to mention, even though Yun Chujio was usually carefree, she was still quite imposing at the crucial moments. Her words just now were reasonable and even more imposing, not bad. The surrounding disciples, after hearing Yun Chujio's words, could not help but feel a little ashamed. They had indeed always looked down on Yun Chujio, thinking that she had gotten into the Spirit Radiance sect by accident. Luo Feng's face was deathly pale, kneeling on the ground and begging Elder Shao for mercy. Elder Shao, I was momentarily blinded and did something wrong. Seeing that the two of them are safe and sound, please forgive me. Elder Shao snorted coldly. They're fine, but that's because they were lucky. It doesn't absolve you of your mistakes. Your heart is vicious. Harming your fellow disciples like that. Men, take him away. Kill him. Junior Su, Junior Yun, save me. Please save me. Luo Feng could not help but kowtow to Su Yun and Yun Chujio. Su Yun naturally did not want to spare Luo Feng, but she was afraid that others would say she did not care about the friendship between her fellow disciples, hence she was in a dilemma. Su Yun looked at Yun Chujie with an unsure expression. After the beast nest incident earlier, she unconsciously started to rely on Yun Chujie. Yun Chujie rolled her eyes. Elder Shao, after all, were from the same sect. Even though he isn't kind, Sister Su and I can't be unrighteous. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, thinking to himself, what a little girl. Indeed, her heart softened after I said a few good words. After I escape this time, I'll definitely find a chance to take revenge. The surrounding spectators all exclaimed. Yun Chujie was a little girl after all, she was indeed kind through and through. Even though her personality was kind, it would be hard for her to have any future. Elder Shao looked at Yun Chujie non-committally. Then how do you want to deal with Luo Feng? Yun Chujie's face was filled with embarrassment. Senior Su and I are soft-hearted, but Luo Feng has made a huge mistake, so we can't not punish him. How about this? Well, give him a taste of his own medicine. Didn't he push me and Senior Su into the beast's nest? Then well, just push him into it as well. If within an hour he's safe and sound, then Senior Su and I will let bygones be bygones. Luo Feng, what do you think? Luo Feng did not know the cause and effect. He thought that since the mighty elephants did not harm Yun Chujie and the others, it would not harm him. After all, he had been feeding them and was considered an acquaintance. Hence he hurriedly said, I agree. I agree. If the elephants eat me, I have no complaints. The elders, including Master Xin Yuan, lit a candle for Luo Feng. The mighty elephants hated Luo Feng to death. If Luo Feng were to jump down, they would definitely stomp him into meat paste. Yun Chujie was really full of evil tricks. The best part was that even if you jumped into her trap, you would still be grateful to her. Could it be that ancestral Master Ling Hua had taken a liking to her? Elder Shao looked at Luo Feng with a complicated expression. Are you sure? Yes. Yes. I'm willing to jump down myself. Luo Feng was afraid that Elder Shao would not allow it, so he quickly exclaimed. Elder Shao nodded. If that's the case, you can jump. You have to bear the consequences. Chapter 198. Was like seeing a ghost. Manager Zhou opened an opening in the array and Luo Feng could not wait to jump down. He was thinking in his heart, there were so many powerful beings up there, those mammoths would definitely be wary. As long as he lasted for an hour, he would be able to escape this calamity. Luo Feng landed on the dry grass at the bottom. After getting up, he smiled at the might elephants. I'm just feeding you normally. Luo Feng had not even finished speaking when one of the mighty elephants angrily used its long trunk to pick him up, fiercely slamming him against the stone wall. The other 4 mighty elephants also angrily took turns to do so. It was this hateful human. They almost fell for his trick. If it was not for that kind little girl, they would have been succeeded by this shameless person. Kill him. How could Luo Feng endure this torment? Very soon he died. Yun Chujie sighed. Sigh, Senior Su, we've already tried our best. However, those mighty elephants probably saw that Luo Feng wasn't as good looking as the 2 of us, so they killed him in a fit of anger. This is his life. Let's not feel guilty about it. Su Yun was already in a daze, nodding her head. Master Shen Yuan and the other elders' expressions froze, thinking to themselves, this Yun Chujie was really a little demon who could eat people without spitting out their bones. If she really got into the top 10 of the trials, one could imagine that with such a little ancestor, their spirit radiance sex days would definitely be exciting. The surrounding disciples looked at Luo Feng's miserable state and could not help but look fearfully at the sighing Yun Chujie. In their hearts, they raised Yun Chujie's danger level to 5 stars. Even though this Yun Chujie did not have any spirit energy, she had a gut full of evil. It was better to not provoke her in the future. Master Xin Yuan and the other elders all left after seeing that the matter had been settled. Yun Chujie bowed to Su Yun. Senior Su, I've implicated you today, causing you to suffer an unexpected disaster. If there's a chance in the future, I'll definitely make it up to you. Su Yun immediately said, Little Sister Jiu, this is all that Luo Feng's fault. It has nothing to do with you, so you don't have to take it to heart. Yun thought, what a joke. Not only do I not blame Yun Chujie, even if I did, I wouldn't dare to say it. This fellow has a gut full of evil, I wouldn't dare to offend her. Yun Chujie smiled, after which she jumped in front of Feng Ming. Feng Ming, let's go. Let's continue watching the little beast. Feng Ming nodded dumbly. He felt that he could no longer see through this little sister Jiu. Normally, her personality was jumpy and muddled, but every time it came to a critical moment, she would always be able to surprise and win. On top of that, her courage was shocking. Not even mentioning anything else, those were 5 8th-grade mighty elephants. If it were any other ordinary disciple, they would have long been scared silly. However, she was able to survive just by opening her mouth. Moreover, from the looks of it, those 5 mighty elephants were still reluctant to part with her. She was really a ghost. A muddle-headed Feng Ming accompanied Yun Chujio to look at a few more types of spirit beasts. After sending Yun Chujio back to her dormitory, he bade her farewell and left. After the incident at the Spirit Beast Garden, Yun Chujio could be considered to be absolutely famous. Even the 2 disciples guarding the library were much more polite to Yun Chujio, afraid that she would use their actions against them. Other than working, Yun Chujio spent the rest of her time in the library. Although she had a photographic memory, Spirit Radiance Sect's library had a vast collection of books. In half a month's time, she had only read the books on alchemy on the 2 floors of the library. However, this was enough information for Yun Chujio to use. This fellow decided to start refining pills. Chapter 199. Let others talk about it. Yun Chujio decided to refine the simplest hemostatic pill first. The medicinal herbs needed for the hemostatic pill were all low-grade yellow category medicinal herbs, which were available in the back mountains of the Spirit Radiance sect. Therefore, Yun Chujio began to sweep and plunder the area. After gathering a few hundred sets of medicinal herbs, Yun Chujio informed Elder Huang in advance and stated that she would be joining a few classes. Elder Huang now found Yun Chujio to be very pleasing to the eye, so he naturally agreed without hesitating. Yun Chujio then found Yun Chuzi and said that she would be going to the alchemy room to stay for a few days. She also entrusted Little Black to him to take care of. Although Yun Chuzi was confused, but out of blind trust in Yun Chujio, he just let her be. After Yun Chujio arranged everything, she swaggered out of the alchemy room with a big bag on her back. The disciples guarding the door had seen Yun Chujio before, and now they even knew that this little girl was known for her wickedness. They asked politely, "Junior sister Little Jio, who are you bringing food to?" Yun Chujio bared her teeth. "Hello, senior brothers. I'm here to rent the alchemy room." The 2 disciples were stunned. "You rent the alchemy room? What for?" Yun Chujio pointed at the bag behind her. "I'm naturally here to refine pills." The 2 disciples almost laughed until they passed out. If they were not afraid of Yun Chujio's evil ways, the 2 of them would have rolled on the floor laughing. Junior sister Little Jio, are you joking? Pill refinement requires the use of spiritual power to form seals. How can you form seals without spiritual power? If you don't add spiritual power, it's impossible to form a pill. One of the disciples said while holding his stomach and trying not to laugh. "If I can't refine it, then so be it. I'm just playing around." Yun Chujio said nonchalantly. "Alright, since you insist, then go in. Ask Manager Gao for spiritual stones to register and you can rent the pill refinement room." The 2 guards thought to themselves. This Yun Chujio was really a little girl. She had money and nowhere to spend it. 5 spiritual stones were wasted just like that. Yun Chujio entered the alchemy room and found the manager's room. "Who is Manager Gao? I want to rent the alchemy room." Yun Chujio saw that there were a few people inside, so she asked. One of the slightly hunchbacked old men looked at Yun Chujio and said, "I am. You want to rent the alchemy room?" Yun Chujio nodded, took out 30 spirit stones from her bosom and handed it to the old man. "This is for 6 days. If I can't finish it, I'll use it again next time." Ha! The world has really changed. Even a trash without spiritual power has to refine pills. Senior brother Dinglang, don't you think it's funny? A disciple with a garlic-shaped nose said with a sneer. "Maybe the fire in the big kitchen is not strong enough. It's better to roast sweet potatoes with the earth fire in the alchemy room." A male disciple said arrogantly. Yun Chujio glanced at the male disciple who spoke. Dinglang? Manager Ding's biological brother? He looked much younger than Manager Ding. It was probably because of his high spiritual power. Haha, senior brother Ding is right. Little girl, Don't tell me you're carrying a bag full of sweet potatoes? This earth fire isn't a joke. Be careful that you don't roast the sweet potatoes. Instead it will make you darker. Exactly. A trash without spiritual power actually wants to refine pills? What a fantasy. The hunchbacked old man did not say anything. After registering, he handed Yun Chujio a jade token. Pill refining room number 2. Yun Chujio took the jade token, thanked him and left the room with a big bag on her back. As for the sarcasm in Yun Chujio's eyes, it was like a disguised encouragement. Focus on refining one's pills. Let others talk about it. Chapter 200. Furnace Explosion. Yun Chujio arrived at the alchemy room number 2, inserted the jade token into the groove and pushed the door open to enter. Although it was called an alchemy room, it was actually divided into 2 rooms. The outside was an alchemy furnace and the inside was a living room. Tables, beds and other daily necessities were all available. Moreover, there was a spirit stone slot in the middle of the outer room. Once the spirit stones were stuffed in, the isolation formation could be activated. This way, the noise and medicinal fragrance in the room would not waft out. Yun Chujio was a stingy person. Naturally, she would not waste a single spirit stone, so she did not activate the isolation formation. Yun Chujio curiously picked up the alchemy furnace in the alchemy room and looked at it. Her mouth twitched. It was definitely not as high-class a furnace that the gigolo gave her. However, she should just use this as a start. There was a pipe under the alchemy furnace that led directly to the underground, and there was a wrench on top of it. It must be the earth fire. Yun Chujio took out a part of the medicinal herbs in the bag and began to refine the hemostasis pill according to the steps. First, she put in 2 portions of Stephania plant, then half the amount of lotus seeds, and then put in a portion of Tsingling Bergenia rhizome. Yun Chujio began to seal and inject her spiritual power. Then with a bang, the entire alchemy furnace exploded into 2 halves. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and quickly pushed the door open to run out. She ran into the crowd who heard the noise and rushed over. Manager Gao. What kind of lousy alchemy room did you arrange for me? It's defective. If I wasn't smart, I would have been killed by the explosion. Yun Chujio was afraid that Manager Gao would ask her to compensate, so she simply came to complain first. Manager Gao frowned and walked into the alchemy room to check. The ground was full of medicinal herbs, and the alchemy furnace had been blown into 2 halves. Manager Gao was stunned. Could it really be that there was something wrong with this alchemy furnace? Looking at Yun Chujio's aggrieved and innocent look, he was even more certain in his heart. Perhaps it was the disciple who had caused the explosion last time, but the cracks were not obvious, and the disciples who checked did not find it. Once the earth fire was heated, the furnace exploded. Yun Chujio, it was our alchemy room's negligence this time. How about this? You go to alchemy room number 12. We'll give you a free day. Manager Gao took out a jade token from his storage bag and handed it to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio sighed. All right. I'm not uptight, so let's do that. Yun Chujio put the scattered medicinal herbs into the sack and went to alchemy room number 12. Once she entered the alchemy room, Yun Chujio closed the door and patted her chest twice.